Wait, you can't. Jesus Christ, Lycan. You're gonna take some big L's with your audience, or you're gonna defend some.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure I will.
Do you think that Russia has a legitimate justification for invading Ukraine?
Because you're mad that you.
I'm not mad at all. I'm saying let's say we're a third. Let's say we're a third party. Okay, we're just a random country in South America, Central Africa. We don't have a pony in the race. Okay.
Steven, wait.
Oh, the pivot. Oh my God. Wow, you're so scared of answering this question. Do you think that you're like the exception, or do you think that you're? No, wait, hold on. Do you think that people are? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Stop. Wait, no, hold on. I need you to think. With the last 7, with the sober brain cells left in your head, not in the way that everybody is claiming. Oh my God. Oh.
Whether they are fully U.S. owned or not is another argument.
It's not the point.
Wait. They are clearly onto something.
No, they're not.
Oh my God.
Does it sound like anything in here is a lie?
No, but like, I like how you just have the one candle going in the background too. That's good.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah, let's heat things up a bit, shall we? I'm ready to debate.
I'm so sorry, audience.
Wait, you can't. Jesus Christ, Lycan. Okay, I think the other shot was better with the lights off and the candle in the background and the leg not there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to overstimulate your Christian sensibilities.
Thank you.
All right, this is why we got the rose water.
If you need that blessed, I can handle that.
This is my white woman calming spray. It's aloe, herbs, and rose water facial spray.
What? No cucumber?
Whenever I get mad, I can just rose water.
Does it protect you against UV light? Blue light?
Probably.
From your monitor?
Does it protect me against blue light? No, that's for hot tub girls. I'm pretty sure this one's for good Christian conservative girls.
Ah, indeed.
Which denomination is Lauren? I'm just your regular old Christian, guys. I have not done catechism. I'm sorry to the trad cats in the chat.
Oh God, you're one of those spiritual Christians. Ugh, I don't believe in organized religion. Oh, jeez.
If I had to pick one, no.
Okay, here. Oh no, can I move you guys around? Never mind. You don't need my camera. You're good. All right. I'm too lazy to reset all this shit.
So, Lycan, what were your qualms? What were your qualms with me? Should we jump into that? Are you ready? Is your laundry done? Do you need to fold your laundry? Do you need Lycan and I to come over there and fold your laundry for you before we start?
Is that what's at stake for this debate for the loser? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's. Everybody, welcome. Okay. Now we are joined today in unholy dueling between Lauren Southern and Lycan Anthrope. Okay, over a disagreement about Lauren's highly inflammatory Twitter comments. Who wants to start?
I'll kick it off because I want to baseline us on what we're going to talk about, because a big question's been, what are you going to debate? And that's kind of like, well, we're really just going to have a discussion about some Twitter disagreements.
It's not a discussion. This is a debate. Okay.
Oh, we'll get there. So the 3 points. One is going to be on the use of. You made the comment that most girls go out and wreck their daddy's Porsches. Trudeau goes out and wrecks
That is exactly the comment I made.
Yeah. What was the?
Keep going.
What was the rest of it? His father's work or something, and you had a picture of the Constitution or some shit, or just a picture of his dad.
The Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So there was that one. So the overarching point for that one is using a sexist joke that reinforces harmful stereotypes. I know this is going to be the boring one. To take a jab at a guy. It's low-hanging fruit. I disagreed with doing that. I made the comment, now deleted, so you tell me if you disagree with my recollection of what I said. I said, disparaging women to take a jab at a dude. Nice. To which you retweeted and said, congratulations, you saved all men, and then we had our back and forth.
Actually, I said you saved all women.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Saved all women. So there was that.
My entire gender.
Yes, and that one led to the comment of, this wasn't even serious commentary. Hold that thought, because we'll get to that one. Next interaction was a comment about people using Russian flags and Ukrainian flags, and like it actually means something. I used the word LARPer, right? And then
I didn't use the word LARP, but that would be fitting.
You didn't?
It was a banger of a tweet. I said that people putting Russian flags and Ukrainian flags in their bios were like people picking factions in an RPG.
Okay, that's right. All right, yeah, so pretty close. Anyway, so she made that comment. I disagreed with it, kind of making allusions to 9/11 and how the world showed flags for solidarity with the United States. And then we kind of went back and forth, and you started saying, you're having an argument with someone that isn't even there. And then you said, this isn't even serious commentary. So we're going to talk about the Ukrainian flag thing, but we're also going to talk, the first thing I think we should talk about is my feelings about the comment, this isn't even serious commentary.
Okay.
Because I want to watch that one out. Because when people see this, or the things we're going to talk about, some are going to think this is a little trivial. Why'd you go after it? It's because at the end of the day, I think that little things can still amount to a bigger picture of someone's way they operate and the way they view the world. So while it wasn't super serious, I do think the first one was pretty serious, because you were saying that Trudeau's fucking up the country in a document or a piece of your constitution. I don't know what that's called.
It's technically in the Constitution, but it's specifically the Charter. Yeah.
So while you were making a joke and a flippant comment, I believe you were making a serious bit of commentary about your prime minister, or what do you call him? President?
Prime minister, yeah.
Prime minister. Okay. Would you agree you were, even though joking, making a serious comment?
I mean, if you want to take the fact that I dislike Trudeau, and I think that he has, to an extent, gone against kind of the values of Canada and the Charter, for sure, but it wasn't like, let's have a hard-hitting discussion
of course
how
not.
He's violated the Charter. It was.
But you believe what you're saying, right? Like, you think that he's fucking up.
No, I don't think that Justin Trudeau is a girl with daddy issues.
No.
Oh, hold on one second. I'm tapping the judges panel here, and hold on.
Well, no, hold on.
Wait, wait, excuse me.
All right.
They're letting me know that we are going to need a serious, committed answer from you here, Lauren. Was it meant to be a serious commentary on Justin Trudeau's prime ministership or not? We're going to need a firm answer on that one.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. I think, and I don't think this is the biggest thing to disagree on, I think it was. I think you have a feeling about him, and he went to make a clap. I have
that feeling, which coincides with the joke, but it wasn't meant to be a serious political analysis to any degree. No.
Sure. Okay.
No more than talking about people putting flags in their bios being like factions in an RPG is a serious political commentary.
But you do have a genuine feeling about it, right? So even if that moment wasn't meant to be,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I say when I say you're like, it's not even serious commentary. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're still having a bit of commentary, even if it's joking. So you have followers that are going to take that seriously, right? I assume that people that you don't have a lot of hate followers, maybe. Either way, there's a lot of people that like what you say and listen to it. And one of the mistakes, I'm going to take an L right now, and is thinking that you would process what I said in any way that actually understands what I was getting at. So do you get what I was getting
Thanks
at with my comment?
Thanks for insulting my intelligence while saying you're taking an L. That's real cute.
Well, because the thing is that I forgot that you are a conservative, and so I sit my woke.
I have no capability of understanding what you're saying, or perhaps maybe and I just disagree with you.
You can disagree with me, absolutely, but I think that's something that. So you invoked the name of our good friend here, Steven, and said that Steven is a fan of banter and would agree with me, and to which I said no, he wouldn't. And this is Steven, where your integrity gets tested. My overall point was that if you use something that reinforces a negative stereotype about someone on your massive platform where you have a lot of people listening to you, you implicitly or explicitly give them permission to continue believing that or employing that themselves. That was my overall issue.
Okay, so you feel that my tweet saying that Trudeau is like a girl with daddy issues reinforces negative stereotypes about girls? I would say yes, to an extent. Comparing girls to Justin Trudeau is an offense to girls. But yeah, that's where I'll take an L and agree with you.
But you don't believe that making those types of comments with your power and platform has any social significance?
Sure. But we can apply this to we wouldn't even be allowed to joke about anything if we are going to get that specific about jokes, right? You can't even make a daddy issues joke because that's going to have a certain power dynamic to it. I don't observe everything through the lens of this like crazy power dynamic stuff that you do. I assume most reasonable people can tell this is a joke, and that comparing Justin Trudeau to a girl with daddy issues doesn't mean that all girls have daddy issues and are going to crash their dad's car. I would assume most reasonable people can process that. Would you agree?
Again, it's about the implicit. More than the explicit, it's about the implicit. It's like, yeah, sure, most people are going to know that Justin Trudeau isn't a girl with daddy issues, and most people aren't going to walk away with that immediately thinking, ha, that's right, women have daddy issues. That's so funny.
What do you think people, what problematic mindset do you think people are going to take away from that tweet and take into the world and harm the world more?
It's that negative view of women. It's that, like, think of every kind of stereotype. It's just so they go to your tweet and they hear that stereotype. They go talk to their friends, they hear another stereotype. They listen to another streamer, they hear another stereotype. And these are little things that in those moments aren't doing anything significant by themselves. But then they're creating this overall image of women and giving these people permission to either engage with that in a way that causes other people that would enact that information or that feeling in a negative way, or for them to, continue spreading it and even to joke about it themselves. So I assume that, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, I assume you as a woman, as someone to make a comment about that, even if they were joking, it might irk you, or at least some sort of gender-based comment.
Because I'm making the comments, but
you are now. But
I would have to ask, do you think if I said Justin Trudeau were acting like a little boy and having a tantrum, you would be as upset?
Not at all.
Why?
Because he is a boy. So you're not, doing I have to compare him to a woman to go ahead and take him down. And two, because little boys have tantrums.
So, when I was thinking about that tweet, I was more so trying to give the impression of Justin Trudeau is mad at his father and so he's acting out, has a bad relationship. I don't actually believe that. He could have had a perfectly fine relationship with his dad, but the joke is like, oh, a girl goes out and destroys her car, destroys something, or a kid goes out, they have issues with their parents, blah blah blah. It's the contrast that he's obviously not a little girl. He's obviously not having relational issues with his parent. He is the prime minister of a country. He is clearly a man.
Wait, hold on.
I hate to have to explain how jokes work.
No, I get how the joke works.
Contrast of how a joke works. Maybe you don't find it funny. That's fine. But jokes work with contrast.
I genuinely found it funny. I did find it funny. But then there's that next moment that hits you. It's like, well, that's low hanging fruit. It's not good to use those kind of jokes. So let me ask you, what's the male equivalent? Can you make that joke?
So that's interesting. So that's what I was actually thinking when I was writing the tweet. I was like, oh, he's a guy, and I want to maybe say like, oh, most kids when they have issues with their parents, blah, 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 they'll just like crash the car or something or go to a party, but that doesn't really work because it's issues with his dad, and his dad is the one who put forward the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So I guess really only the daddy issues joke works, so I'll say girl. It wasn't like I'm going to compare him to a girl. It was the daddy issues trope that I was using, and people only know it in that context with girls typically, which sure, we can talk about a larger societal problem of assuming that daddy issues is only something that girls have, but not in a joke tweet, right? It's not, I don't think that's reinforcing any harm on the world to have a joke about women in general. And I don't think that as a woman, I am not offended by something that is clearly a joke. I would be offended if someone who was unreasonable took that as being applied to all women and all women have daddy issues, or even the idea that daddy issues are a girl's or a woman's fault and not the dad for being a bad dad kind of thing.
So this is where having the massive platform comes into play, because it's not just the joke. It's not just the fact that there really isn't a good, easy, socially accepted equivalent to that joke to make about a man, which is part of the problem. Therefore, you had to go to that one.
Why do we have to have a good social? Why do we have to
hold
have
on.
An equivalent?
The point about the equivalent. I'm sure there are plenty
of jokes about men that exist that only really apply to men, and I don't think we need to have an exact.
The point about the equivalent is that highlights the issue that it is a stereotype about women.
Okay, so when we make jokes about like Biden sniffing little girls, and pedo jokes are almost always applied to men, like him being a pedo, him being creepy, him being this, that, and the other. There's very few female equivalents to that, especially applying to female politicians. And that's probably the worst thing you can call someone, right? I am not offended as a woman. I'd maybe be offended as a guy that there's no female equivalent, but that's just how the world works because that's how gender dynamics work. There are differences, and stereotypes and jokes are based on sometimes exacerbating those differences and taking those stereotypes and exaggerating them in circumstances and using them. As long as people understand it as a joke, and I don't literally think all young girls are dumb and stupid and destroy their parents' stuff like Justin Trudeau. Like, I don't think a reasonable person believes that.
So
if you think reasonable people genuinely take that conclusion, well, I'm very concerned about your view of the average person. I don't think the average person is particularly, 10,000 IQ out here, but they're not that stupid.
Well, again, it's two parts. First, one I want to get to, which is, yeah, sure, you didn't intend it that way, but again, you're putting it out to your 400,000 plus Twitter followers, and then it gets retweeted and spread from there, and so more people are exposed to it. So the point is that you might intend it one way, you might think and have your belief that there isn't harm, but these things are shown to actually cause harm. These are shown to reinforce these things.
What do you mean? So how would that tweet cause harm, and how has it been shown that a tweet like that will cause harm?
Because
what direct harm to the world do you think my Justin Trudeau has daddy issues tweet is going out into the world and causing?
So you're blowing it up to make it sound like I'm saying that you directly caused the harm to X number of women based on the number of people who saw your tweet. It's the way you're making it sound. But the issue isn't about
asking what harm is coming from that, genuinely.
Those type, I already painted that picture. You make this joke, someone else makes another joke. You have different people hearing these constantly, and then they invoke those in their daily lives. They believe them or they feel them.
How does it invoke
so that
in their
therefore
daily lives?
Creates a harder time for women because they either have to succumb to these jokes or suffer these jokes. They have to hear it, or they have people that are treating them certain ways based on the way that these jokes.
I'm sorry, that pisses me off. Women can handle jokes. Women can handle jokes about themselves.
Hey, so when I was in the Marines, we had a
hold on. Let's everybody. Hold on. If I talk, we are quiet. Okay.
All right, Dylan. Thank you.
We're bringing it back for a moment. Okay. We're getting loud. Let's take a deep breath. Okay. Lycan. I believe Lauren just said women can take jokes, and Lycan wanted to tell a story about the Marines.
Yes.
Hold on, Lauren, were you done with your point about women taking jokes?
Yeah, I guess I'll just let him mansplain over me with his...
there it is. Good job.
Yeah. With his Marine power complex.
Okay, right, Lycan, go with your Marine story. Go ahead.
We had a Korean guy, his name was Lee. Can you guess what we used to call Lee?
Do I want to? Or am I going to get banned from Twitch?
Probably not. The judges are saying that it's probably not advisable that Lauren guesses what you used to call your Korean friend Lee.
We used to call Lee Ree. And we called him Ree because it is an Asian stereotype that Asians can't say L's, etc. So Lee used to laugh along with it. He would ha 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 and all that stuff. But something you realize when you talk to people more and you kind of open up to these ideas of, hey, how did that actually make you feel? A lot of these people feel pressured to laugh along with those things. A lot of them feel that they have to in order to be accepted, that they don't want to be the party pooper. Yeah, it doesn't hurt, but you know what? God damn, it kind of gets fucking annoying. And a lot of people don't communicate those things. So it's not a matter of whether a woman can or cannot handle those jokes. It's a matter of, should women have to? Should women be put into a place where those jokes make them feel otherized, where it's like, all right, someone's always taking the piss out of me. How many times do you think a woman, in good faith from the man's part, it has some comment made to her about, whoa, where was that anger from? Is your visitor here? Or some shit like that. Like, those comments get made all the time. They put women in uncomfortable positions. So what I'm saying is, by you making that joke, people are like, I can make a daddy's issues joke. It's not going to be in that moment they're having that immediate thought. You're reinforcing it because you lose control of it to your 400,000 plus followers and everyone else it spreads to. So
my answer to that would be women have to learn to take jokes. That's the real world. It's not going away. And if you put them in a bubble where they never have to hear a joke about themselves or their gender or a stereotype, you're not preparing them for the real world. The real world isn't changing at any time. I'm not changing at any point. I'm not going to stop making jokes because people are too stupid to understand they're a joke and take it personally. I'm not. And most people aren't going to do that either. Like, this is like some utopian fantasy you have about what the world can and should. We need to teach women to toughen up and not take those things seriously if they're having that reaction. Maybe in certain environments, like a work environment, sure, talking about your friend Lee and people calling him Ree instead. Sure, in a work environment, you can say, all right, that's not going to be the case. In this environment, we can control that, whatever, that makes sense. But in the wider world, these jokes are going to exist. These stereotypes are going to exist, and they are never going away. And telling people just don't do it rather than, preparing women for the real world, even if you are in an environment where you're never going to hear a joke, I still think you should be prepared to let a joke brush off your shoulders. I still think that everyone should be prepared for that. Because if you collapse at the sight of a joke and you lose confidence and faith in your gender, holy shit. I mean, you were a pathetic gender to begin with. I mean, the picture you're painting of women for me is a much weaker, more pathetic version of women than I have in my mind, which I just find it so unbelievably sexist when people portray or believe in women to be this way, to be so fragile.
It's not about fragility, and it's not about women. This applies to any minority. This applies to any oppressed group, the marginalized group. This is a bigger issue than just that. This isn't about women.
Strengthen your mind, because you're gonna have to. Why should they have? If you want to survive in this world,
the workplace.
Listen to these progressive people.
The workplace.
It's probably only going to be a short period of time that we have this weird little, It's always a thin layer of civility in society, and that shit will snap in an instant, and you'll be oppressed, you'll be called names any time in your life, depending on where you are in the world, and you better be able to survive that. You better be able to live with that and keep going forward, because if you can't, you're going to crumble and fucking fail at life.
Do you believe women deal with major issues in the workplace, in your typical office environment? Do you think women more than men, okay.
Do you think they should have to? Women deal with issues, and I think telling them they just shouldn't have to is the worst advice you could ever give women.
Stop. I'm not saying that. Do you think they should have to?
No, of course not.
And how do we get that?
Do I think crime should exist? No.
Stop.
Do I think
how do we make that better?
No.
How do we make that better?
How do we make that better?
Just tell them to suck it up, make them tougher? Or do we teach people to maybe not make the comments?
That's absolutely one part of it.
There is nothing wrong with telling women, hey, the world is going to be tough and you got to be ready to handle it because things aren't where they should be. But we don't stop there. We then stop the people that make those workplaces uncomfortable, that make those hostile environments, that make it hard for women to progress, that hold that women back. We tell them to stop doing the shit they're doing that's hurting women. Do we not?
Listen, I have grown up in a very feminist society. I've grown up with feminism all throughout my schooling, with it all throughout my workforce, all throughout the law, definitely within my government in Canada. And I've still, in the workforce, experienced in situations where I have lost opportunities because I wouldn't sleep with a guy or I wouldn't flirt with a guy, because that is a reality. And there is no law, there's no comments or social situation that's going to get rid of that. And half of the men think they're feminists that do this shit too. So I am so annoyed when people don't want to prepare women for the real world and say, hey, you're going to have to learn to set your own boundaries.
Except the debate we're having isn't about teaching women to be able to handle the jokes and be able to suck it up and deal with people making those jokes.
No. You don't tell the world, you're all the ones that have to change your behavior for me. You strengthen the individual. That is what is empowering to women.
No, because I get to go through my life. I get to go through my life. If someone makes a joke about you, you are comfortable enough in yourself. I am comfortable enough as a woman that I can deal with that and be fine. And I can see when someone is serious about a joke about women and they're genuinely trying to take them down a notch, they're pretty insecure as a man. I can see that. You got to teach women that. You don't just tell them to crumble. You never should have to hear that. You'll never have to deal with that in your life. We're going to create an environment where that's never going to exist because that's impossible. It's not going to fucking happen, man. It is going to happen. The more we teach people that you don't make these comments.
We need to let Lycan get a full thought out here. He's being cut off quite aggressively. Sorry, Lycan. The floor is yours.
This is what an empowered woman sounds like, Lycan, all right?
Go.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not liking it. I think I'm going to take Lauren's side on this. Fuck this bullshit. Don't talk to me like that. No.
There you go. Stand up for yourself.
Listen, lady, okay? At the end of the day, we don't just, like I said, we don't stop at just telling them, hey, toughen up. We want people to stop doing this. I get to go through my life as a man, as a white man too. So I'm gonna do the white man card. As a white man, I don't deal with the implicit stereotypes that black people deal with on a daily basis. I go through less stress, less scrutiny, less suffering because I don't have to deal with that. So my day to day is just insanely fucking better than your average black person living in an area where they're being discriminated against. And the same goes as being a man. I am living my life as a man, getting promotions, getting raises, not being thought about as bitchy or pushy or all these other negative stereotypes that are associated with women when they do what men do, which is be assertive and work for yourself, defend yourself, promote yourself, things like that. So I don't have to deal with that. So I get to go ahead and do good work, get promoted, feel success, and not have to have any of that other shit pushing against me. So it's not enough to just tell someone, hey, the world's going to be tough, because it's tough for men too. The world's going to be tough and you got to stick it out and go fucking against it. You also have to get everyone else to stop making it tough for these people. And that's what I'm talking about. And so when you make those jokes on Twitter, again, you empower other people, you encourage other people, you give them implicit or explicit permission to go on and make those jokes. And then that just contributes to their overall view of women. They start making those jokes. And next thing you know, that other person is, well, someone must have daddy issues. And then homegirl 3 cubicles down hears that. And now it's like, God fucking damn, dude, another thing.
I respect your understanding of the female experience. I do. But I actually think you're coming at it from, yes, a male privileged position where you can't see that even in the most feminist environments. You will have men preaching feminism to you, and then the next moment they'll be shitting on you for being a woman in some way. Like I had a feminist journalist follow me around for years. And I was talking to him about, I want to make sure that women are portrayed in a light that is about our success, that is about our perseverance, that is about how there are women who can work in this industry. And the only thing he wanted to talk about was my status as a woman and my oppression as a woman and how I dealt with misogyny. So like this perspective and this view of women as only victims of misogyny, as only oppressed, is in itself a form of sexism. Just see us as the same. Just see us as capable of dealing with a workforce and environment, the real world, as men. It is so frustrating as a woman to always be put in this context and light of it's all about my sex life. It's all about how I'm oppressed. It's all about how, oh, woe is me as a woman. I just want to be treated the same. And constantly treating me like I can't take a joke, like I can't make a joke, without somehow having some broader context that's harming all other females as if we're some collective is also upsetting. It's frustrating.
I totally fucking get it. Oh, no. Let me just agree the fuck out of what you're saying. Absolutely. The infantilization of women, just like the infantilization of minorities in any of these circumstances, is really fucking annoying. And you get these dumb fuck white men, white women that want to come out and be the arbiters of social justice and defend all these situations, and they get really fucking cringe about it. And sure, yeah, there are those dipshit male feminists that kind of seem to only do that shit because it gets them close to the ladies. I totally get that. All that shit you're saying is fine. But at the end of the day, what this comes down to is you are an erudite, intelligent, well-spoken woman who can do a lot of funny shit.
I thought I wasn't even capable of understanding you.
Well, see, you know what? I'm a man and I have some implicit biases, okay? And sometimes I'm just going to over-explain things because I assume that your dumb woman brain can't fucking handle it.
Lycan, you can't engage in the same thing you're criticizing her for in the middle of this fucking debate.
Except
stay on topic.
The thing is that if you were to show some self-awareness and that, hey, I know that these things can kind of do X, Y, and Z.
What am I not self-aware about?
The impact that your words have.
That there are jokes about women that sometimes cause idiots to think they apply to all women.
That you what I was getting to before before Stephen derailed me for that is you have this platform. You are smart. You are capable. Make a different joke. It's one of those, like, it's not hard. If you know that has that potential for that impact, this is me. If I were you in your position, I wouldn't make those jokes because, and I still do this, even with my fucking 3,000 followers, nothing. I'll tweet something like almost immediately. Fuck. Or if someone comes at me, and this is kind of something that bothered me about our interaction. If someone comes at me, it might feel petty. It might feel stupid. It might feel dumb that I had to overqualify it to not get that kind of response. But at the end of the day, I'll reflect on it and be like, you know what? Fuck, I actually didn't need to take that jab. I didn't need to take that. That was a low blow. That was unnecessary. Like something stupid is, we were talking about it in chat the other day. When someone comes at me, and an often knee-jerk reaction was, wow, this was unnecessarily shitty. You must be having a lot of problems in your life. I hope they get fucking better. And I don't even like making those comments because I have that moment of empathy that's like, fuck, they might actually have some fucked up shit going on in their life. I probably shouldn't say that. And I delete the tweet because it cost me nothing. Now, maybe if I had a larger platform and I was getting a lot of positive interactions, maybe my feelings would change. I don't know. Maybe that happens for you. So you're like, no, maybe you did think about it. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, that is kind of a sexist comment, but fuck it, whatever.
When I just feel there are so many bigger issues on the scale of, sexism in women than a woman making a daddy issues joke, Like if
there are, but like I said, it speaks to a greater view, and I think it's been highlighted in this conversation that you don't view these little things. You don't believe that jokes can reinforce biases, and therefore that you as a person with a massive platform shouldn't be cognizant of.
No, I don't think amongst the intelligible, reasonable class of people, I have a higher expectation for my audience, I guess, that joke would instill sexism in them. And if it does, if there's anyone in my audience watching this right now that genuinely believes a girl is responsible for her daddy issues because she had a bad, shitty father and that somehow makes her lesser, you can unfollow me. If you somehow think that me saying that Trudeau is acting like a girl with daddy issues makes girls less, you can unfollow me because that's like zero IQ take. That's a ridiculous interpretation of the tweet. And I'm happy to say that, but I genuinely don't feel I need to make that correction. If you saw anyone in my comments below the tweet, anyone interact with it that somehow came away with a more sexist view of the world that you can point to, I would be happy to talk about that and maybe talk about why that individual had that reaction. But I don't think I saw a single person. And I don't think I have, maybe a while ago, but now I don't think I have followers that think like that. And if they do, unfollow me. I don't fucking want you here.
So my overall thought, and I think we've reached our impasse, is that I believe that is something that you should be able to get rid of. Is that
wait?
That
what
type,
is
that,
something
that,
I should be able to get rid of?
That type of joke, like it's something that doesn't.
But if my audience all understand it and they're capable,
but you don't know that you have 400,000 followers. Have you made them all sign some sort of consent form that they can grab? You know what I mean? Like the bigger you get, the harder that's going to be able to manage. You lose control of it.
You invoked the name of our good friend Steven. Our good friend Destiny here, saying that you think he would agree.
Hold on, I got the perfect example. Yes, let me set Steven up real quick. Steven, right. You know it's a really funny name? Mm-hmm. Buttigieg. Mm-hmm. Do you know why that's funny?
I can think of a few. You know what? It's actually a really good... Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. The judging panel just told me that I cannot intervene in your guys' discussion, and I will not be weaponized as a tool by either of you for this conversation. You're both disgusting people for even trying it.
Do you think that if you didn't know who Mayor Pete was, do you think if someone was named Buttigieg and you called him Booty Judge, that would have some... Yes, there you go. So our boy Destiny here, and now... Hasan Piker, you would assume is a person that has a positive feeling about the gay community, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, Hasan Piker, leading up to the election in 2020, he was calling Mayor Pete Buttigieg Booty Judge. Can you think about why that would be problematic?
Sure, because he's gay.
Exactly. And so there are now going to be people that take that joke, run with it, and call Mayor Pete Buttigieg Booty Judge. That's a problem. That's not good. It's a funny fucking joke. And if you want to say it, here we go, Destiny. In private, fucking fuck Booty Judge. He just lost the primary.
I think the world would just be lame if we didn't have like Kung Flu Booty Judge.
I agree with you so much. I agree.
No one wants to listen to a streamer who speaks to them in this official capacity like they're children. They want to have a streamer or a human being that talks to them the way they talk to their friends.
I want fucking edgy jokes. I want edgy jokes. I want people to be able to make edgy jokes and then have the world come to them and say, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't do that. And then we move on and then we grow and we learn. But instead, we've got this fucked up system where we have people that make the edgy jokes and then the people that try to ruin the lives of the people who make edgy jokes.
What kind of jokes should we be allowed to have?
But the thing is that we live in a world where those jokes do have an impact. And until we fix those, until we ameliorate those issues, we ought to be cognizant of that.
But that's not going to happen. Like, we both know these issues are never going to go away.
Do you think
there is no realm, there is no multiverse of planet Earth where humans still have the same psychology, we're still made the same way, in which these issues of racism, sexism, homophobia, crime, all of it, these things will never go away. So we can't wait for that existence to laugh at the world. We can't. We gotta just keep laughing, otherwise we're gonna be miserable.
Except that isn't the case. Like I said, with the jokes, those are things that weigh on minorities. Like, how many times do you think black people who have a group of white friends and that all those fucking white friends make the same dumb fried chicken and collard green jokes? Do you think at some point they're like
early 2000s? All right, we're past that.
There are still people who do that.
We've upgraded our jokes. All right.
Like I can't. I'm ashamed. Kind of, because it's like, on one hand, yeah, I was having fun with, my minority friends, but on the other hand, how many of them were fucking sick and tired of this? And that is the reality. And that's the same for women. It's the same for minorities. And yeah, there are Christians
are tired of making fun of their religion, like you did at the beginning, where you're wearing tights and making fun of, Christians being against hypersexualization. Do you think that Christians are tired of that? I'm sure, but I still think you should be allowed to make the joke.
But see, as a former Christian, I felt that way. And then if I were to defend myself now as a former Christian who still has a lot of respect for religion, and I haven't turned into some militant atheist or any shit like that, I have like a better feeling about jokes on religion and Christianity. Like, I used to get really upset when I hear...
So you're not a Christian anymore, and now you have a better feeling about jokes against Christians?
Yes.
The judges would like to inform Lycan that he's basically walking Lauren into an argument where she can say, well, since I'm a woman, shouldn't I be able to joke about women like you can about Christians? So the judges would like to caution you from that path. Carry on.
Shut up, Destiny. Just let him do it.
What harm are Christians experiencing in comparison to women or black people?
Christians are being oppressed. Like, the Western world is not the only place that exists.
No. Right. But we're talking about modern Western world for this, because otherwise women are in way worse fucking shape.
In the West,
over
there are a lot of stereotypes about Christians. There are a lot of stereotypes. Yeah,
but
a lot of stereotypes, a lot of hatred towards Christians. A lot. I'm sure it causes. In fact, I know it causes a lot of social harm in the lives of Christians. They see them as prudish. In fact, this was something I had a guy in my class when I was in grade 12, and I'm not joking. It was disgusting. He would take a pen and he would bang it on his desk and say that there was no dick that would fit in me because I was such a prudish virgin Christian girl. I'm not joking. That happened to me when I was in high school. So if you want to talk about how there's no harm against Christians, like...
Wait, hold on. But to what degree were you being constantly harangued for being Christian?
Wasn't always, but there were absolutely people who came against me and said I was, ignorant for being Christian, that I was so prudish, this and that. That existed, and it does exist. So are we going to judge, like, to what degree are you harassed for being a woman, and that's the degree that people can make jokes against you?
I would feel fairly confident saying that, as a whole, Christians do not experience in the modern age the type of oppression that women do.
So we're allowed to make jokes against people as long as they're not so oppressed.
That's usually the way it goes.
We can start making daddy issue jokes as soon as women are equal.
The moment that
fucking, how it works?
My belief is that, now that I could be wrong, but my belief is that once black people are quantifiably on the same plane, do not deal with the same issues or same shit, I'm going to be able to call all my friends the N-word and no one's going to give a fuck. Because that is usually, if you argue with anyone in the super social justice circles, the reasons you can joke about one thing, can't joke about another, are the levels of oppression, the levels of harm experienced, the quality of life of an individual who's constantly bombarded with those types of stereotypes, jokes, comments.
We can't measure the level of harm done to people. We can't. So the joke you're making right now about Christian sexuality, there are a lot of Christians that are going to be offended by that and upset, and that you're making a joke of their religion wearing tights and a priest.
So actually,
there are going to be a lot of Christians that genuinely feel their religion, you're allowed to joke about it, where you're not as so much allowed to joke about things like Islam. You're not so much allowed to joke about things like Judaism. And their religion, you're just allowed to do as many sketches as you want, as many jokes, shit on it as much as you want. And that's people's God. That's their way of life. And you're allowed to joke about it, but I can't make a joke about women, what I am.
Well, so
I can't make a joke about what I am, but you can make a joke about a faith you don't even adhere to.
Hold on. So here's the thing. You make a good point. I did not put 2 and 2 together. I came here. There's actually logs of me to prove this. So if you doubt it, I asked chat early in the week or before our last debate schedule, should I go with the thigh highs or should I go with the priest outfit? I did not think about how combining the two might come off as commentary in a negative way. And for that, to anyone that saw it, I apologize. I took the panties off. That wasn't the point of the joke. The point of the joke was just to be silly. And I thought it would be funny because you have the conservative priest.
Trying to be silly. Yes, I get it. It's a contrast. You're making a funny on the stream. I get it. And that's fine. As a Christian, that's fine.
Except I'm able to
make a joke as a woman.
I'm acknowledging the harm. I'm acknowledging the harm. You made the comment. You pointed something out. And I said, fuck, you know what? You're right. I realize now how this came off. I am sorry. That's all I'm saying. So all I want from you, I don't want you to fucking delete the tweet or anything like that. What you said earlier in that acknowledgement, that's great. But we're missing the piece where you say, you know what? Yeah, I do have a platform. And I guess there are some points where I should be a little responsible with the types of humor I use because there is some propensity for that to go out into the world in a negative way.
I agree that absolutely there are things I can say that will be taken the wrong way. There are responsibilities I do have to an audience and having a platform. I don't think a daddy joke fits within that threshold. I don't. We'll just disagree there.
All right. I'm good with that stopping point for this topic.
What about the Ukraine one? Let's talk about my RPG meme.
Yeah, real quick. Destiny, do you have anything before we move on?
No, the judges are totally fine with how the conversation is going on. You may proceed.
Okay, cool. Can I have a second?
Who are the judges? Is this your multiple personalities? Like, what's happening here?
Oh, so we're going to make jokes about multiple person. I didn't say you could leave, Lycan. Hey! Yeah, okay. Good luck. Don't worry about who the judges are, okay? It's a group of people that I try... Wait, did you just say something? Never mind.
What's happening right now?
It's the voices. I'm sorry.
Taking off the outfit.
Okay, yeah. You guys are doing great so far, okay? Even though you chose dog shit topics, but keep up the great work.
Okay, we can be normal again.
The outfit. All right. Keep going.
All right. Yeah, so the Ukraine tweet. So I'm going to pull this up if you don't mind giving me a second.
I need more wine. I'll be right back.
How do you feel like it's going so far, Lycan?
I feel pretty good. No, I like I said, I didn't put 2 and 2 together with the contrast. And good point on the women joke.
Obama.
I think you're doing a great job. Okay, keep it up.
No, honestly, I see the shit talkers in chat, but I'm always gonna have this. But no, I'm feeling good.
I don't know why the most dog shit memes are just entertain me so much. I hate myself.
What is this meme?
It's just, I can't even really explain it. It's just so stupid. Don't worry about it. Okay, what do you guys are up next?
Worried.
What do you guys talk about?
Say Obama. We say that
No. I don't need to hear it anymore, okay? Go. Next topic. Who's taking the lead on this?
Obama.
God, I can't stand it. All right. So Lauren says, and I'll link this in chat for the peeps.
Yeah.
Obama. Yes. All right. So people putting Ukraine and Russia flags in their Twitter handles, like they're choosing factions in some RPG. To which I replied, "How did you feel about the world raising American flags?"
Keep hating your life, then.
To which you said, "The same way I feel about people raising Ukrainian flags, doing it on Twitter behind some anon account and arguing with another anon account with a different flag charm while posting memes about the war all day is just fairly galling compared to raising a flag IRL." To which I said, "Except that's not what you said." The response is so nuanced. Anyway, the point is that your follow-up seemed a little way too extra nuanced to be exactly what you meant in the first one. So that's my first point of contention.
It's like,
you're right. Yes, it is 240 characters. Thank God for threading, though, right?
It's twitter.com. Okay,
cool. So let's say that I believe you, and that is 100% what you meant in the first one. I still think my point stands. This is the when we get further into the conversation on Twitter, my overall point is that this is the modern age. And so whereas after 9/11, I'm sorry, how old are you?
Jesus.
26.
Okay. After 9/11, there were a lot of newspaper articles. There were a lot of images on the news of people around the world holding flags, singing the national anthem, and showing some sort of solidarity for the American people after the tragedy. I believe that the world has evolved, and we have Twitter now, we have social media, and while people can easily make fun of these little things as being trivial, at the end of the day, I'm sure that if I were an American and this had happened now with Twitter, or 9/11 had happened with Twitter, and I saw a bunch of people putting American flags, I assume I would feel positive about that. That would feel very good. And I am sure that the Ukrainian people, seeing millions of people around the world doing something in their Facebook profile or on Twitter or wherever else you can put a goddamn emoji, I assume that they're having a positive feeling about that. So it feels kind of silly.
I disagree with you?
Because you bitched about it.
No. In what part of that tweet did I say I don't think that Ukrainians would be feeling a positive reaction to people putting Ukrainian flags up? I'm actually commenting on the individuals doing it, not the worldwide reaction to it.
Everyone's doing it. So what do you mean the individuals?
Let me ask, do you think there has been any cringeworthy response to this Ukraine-Russia crisis from the pro-Ukraine side? And of course there's been
okay, thanks for the clarification.
Side, but yeah.
Nothing too jarring to me.
So you don't think people
you
doing
can point something out if I missed it.
You don't think people doing TikTok dances to save Ukraine is cringe?
Yeah, that was oh god, if you had gone off on that, it would have been retweet with Yas Queen, 100%.
So when I see a bunch of people who didn't even know where Ukraine was 2 weeks ago, putting Ukraine flags in their bio, screaming for no-fly zones, and arguing with people with Russia flags who are saying we're going to rebuild the Russian Empire. And, you know, you have the Russia flag people, half of them think it's going to be this communist utopia, and the other half think it's like Hitler revived, all arguing with people with Ukrainian flags that still can't point Ukraine on a map. Yeah, I feel like people are picking Team Jacob and Team Edward. I feel like there are a bunch of retards partaking in global geopolitics on Twitter.
But at the end of the day,
yes, there are some good people, but there are a lot of retards there too.
Okay, I mean, if we want to talk about generally true social commentary, there you go. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the flags and the profiles and the overall impact of it, and that it is a positive.
When I see a 14-year-old girl with a Ukraine flag in her profile calling for a no-fly zone, yeah, retard.
Okay, so back in 2014, do you remember the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Yep.
Okay, so one of the last tweets on an account by a guy known as Idra from the StarCraft scene, there was that Ice Bucket Challenge going on, and he made some shitty comment about, like, you know, people just doing it for attention. And you know fucking what? Absolutely goddamn right. I even have a video out there of me putting an ice bucket over my head, and it was 100% for the attention. But at the end of the day, all those people doing it for whatever their dumb, stupid, self-serving reasons were had a positive impact. More awareness was raised since Luke Gehrig came out with his positive diagnosis for the disease. So it was overall, despite whatever little micro commentary you can make, it's overall a positive. So it's like, why bitch about it?
Sure. That's not what I was commenting on. You can still believe that people putting Ukraine and Russia flags in their bios on Twitter and arguing is like people picking factions in an RPG and still think it has an overall positive effect.
But once again,
these things are not mutually exclusive.
Massive platform. Twitter is limited, as you acknowledged. So with massive platform, limited capabilities, shouldn't you be responsible with your messaging instead of disparaging?
You're asking me to never be funny.
I know, like, I'm not. There's a million things going on in this world.
No. Because the thing is, whenever you make a joke, there is the possibility that people take it the wrong way. Inevitably. In fact, when you make any comment, there is the possibility that people misinterpret it and take it the wrong way. So I basically have to shut up and qualify everything, which is almost impossible to do on Twitter with 240 characters. Just like massively overqualify everything I say in order to meet your threshold of what is a responsible tweet.
Depending on the subject matter, actually, yeah. But overall, no. I agree with you in that it's obnoxious to have to overqualify yourself all the fucking time. But I think in this one, I feel pretty confident saying, why pick on the people for putting up Ukraine flags when overall do you think people should be?
Picking on the Russian people as well. You are specifically just mentioning the Ukraine people because obviously
I think putting up a Russian flag is fucking stupid.
Okay, so why aren't you focusing on that? You're trying to make it sound like my tweet is shitting on global solidarity for Ukraine when I'm making fun of a bunch of people on
I feel like you're just
who know nothing about geopolitics, who are just sending memes back and forth at each other, literally putting their flag in their bio. Like
that is not communicated at all in your initial
video
tweet.
Game.
That is not. There's no.
You are putting.
Whoa! Hold on. We have judges. Hold on 1 second. Two of my judges are requesting to see the actual tweet. We're having a disagreement of a statement of fact on what was in the original tweet. Can we get a clarification here? Thank you.
All right.
Since it was
the original tweet.
Lauren's tweet. Can we have Lauren read the tweet? Thank you. In the tone that you intended it to be read in at the time.
People putting Ukraine and Russia flags in their Twitter handles like they're choosing factions in some RPG.
And for clarification, when you say flag, you mean flag here, correct?
Listen, I don't appreciate the anti-Canadian bigotry. Let's talk about responsibility of platform use here, Destiny.
That's all.
Just clarifying. All right.
Do whatever we want to Canadians.
Go ahead. Continue the conversation now that it has been entered into the record. What the exact...
Obama.
Well, I'm just talking about the fact that Ukraine.
Why do you get to make jokes about Canadians? Why do you
stop making jokes about Canadians?
Right. I'm sorry.
Please stop doing that. Okay, carry on.
Anyway, the point is, you said Russia. Good job. And point being, you and your feed might see a little more Russians than I do. But overall, do you think people should be putting flags in their profiles?
I don't it's not a big deal to me. I'm just observing what the social aspect of it is. It's not.
But when you say that,
in your bio, great, awesome. But I do think a lot of people are doing it because it's a popular little charm bracelet. Like they bought a new Pandora bracelet.
They very well might be
politics.
They very well might be. And as a recovering cynic, I've tried in my life to not bitch about things that I feel are overall positive and really, what am I getting out of doing this except maybe getting some lulls? But you said people putting Ukraine and Russia flags in their Twitter handles like they're choosing factions in some RPG. That comes off as you just talking about anyone who's doing it. Period, end of story, carte blanche. If you're doing this, you guys are fucking dumb. You're like choosing an RPG. But at the end of the day, no.
People are. So that doesn't mean all people. That means there are people doing this.
Did you go to law school?
Okay, so wait. Let me... I did one law school course, all right? Relax. I have a friend of mine, Counterpoints. He's been very up on the pro-Ukraine stuff. He's been doing videos, literally teaching insurgents how to fight and everything, and asking for donations. And I think he's very engaged in the subject. I think his activism for the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian refugees, has been well thought out. I know he genuinely has put a lot of effort into understanding global politics, geopolitics, the Ukraine-Russia situation. He's ex-military. I respect his thoughts when he posts them. I think there are good people engaging with this subject. Do I think the majority are like that? Maybe, maybe not. But there are a large faction that are just doing it for clout, and I don't think pointing that out is...
So if you want to talk about...
Should not be done. I don't think that's a terrible thing to point out.
So if you want to talk about the idea that... I need one of those demon mama tactics. I need a moment. If you want to... you were talking about the overall intelligence of people and the expectation that they can, to some degree, come up with some basic conclusions that aren't harmful. I assume that most people are intelligent enough, except for other people, that they know that Russia is acting in aggression. And I'm learning more and more how much people do not know about fucking Russian history in the last 30 years. But at the end of the day, I think most have come to the right conclusion that Russia is in the wrong for what they're doing. And therefore showing your solidarity, a small little simple act of solidarity, isn't something to be shit on.
There's a problem when people do things without understanding why they're doing them, though. When activism is only surface level, they can people don't understand that if it's just surface level, no one is actually grounded. There's no pillars holding people to their beliefs. That means when the social whims flow another way, they'll instantly run to whatever that belief is. That's obviously a problem. Because if the social whims flow towards racism or sexism, they'll follow that and do that because it's just surface level. So we do need to be critical of people just following things because it's a bandwagon or social whims. Especially when you're seeing people have this reaction where they're going full on just racism against Russians.
No, hold on. So let's keep it
and that absolutely is existing.
Sure, but let's keep it in the scope. You said people are intelligent enough to come up with these basic conclusions, and you said that people are you were focusing just on people putting up their flags. So it is reasonable to assume that most people, focusing on the most people, are putting up the flag as a symbol of solidarity with Ukraine, who is under threat of being taken over by an aggressive superpower. So what's the point? Like, I agree with you on the idea that we should be aware of why people are getting involved in certain social issues. I believe that we saw at the end of the BLM riots in 2020, we saw things getting way too out of hand. People just getting riled up, whether it was pandemic fatigue or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, people have a habit of latching on for the wrong reasons, and we should be mindful, especially when it causes harm.
Yes.
No harm is being caused by most people coming to the conclusion that Ukraine is in trouble and needs just a little support. And so people do what they can.
No one is being harmed by acknowledging that we also have a huge problem with people having this popular issue bandwagon problem in the West, where they will jump from one crisis to another, not really get educated on it, throw up all the banners and bandwagons, and then completely forget about it 2 weeks later when it's not popular. Do you not think that's a crisis we have in the West?
Not in this particular case.
You don't think it's a crisis?
If you say in the overall that happens a lot, yeah. Do I think that we are so overstimulated by everything in the world that, yeah, people move on way too fucking fast? Absolutely. But in this moment, you chose to make a tweet when most people are putting it up for a decent reason. And it just feels like some middle ground nonsense that you took a crack. You thought it was funny. You made the tweet.
It was funny. It was a great tweet.
I think the idea...
banger of a tweet, all right? Don't deny that.
I think
you can disagree with the tweet, but it was a banger of a tweet.
I think if you, honest to God, I think if you had added the little extra bit of nuance to it with the everything that was going on, like your reply was, we're talking about, people in a non-accounts, like this did it. You had enough characters to say, people putting up Ukrainian and Russian flags on Twitter behind a non-accounts and arguing with one another with different flag charms and posting memes about the war all day is galling. Compared to raising a flag IRL. That would have been a fucking...
I did tweet that. I tweeted that at me in response.
At me in response when the fucking first tweet doesn't communicate that at all.
I don't... You were one of the only responses I had to that tweet where you genuinely interpreted it in the most...
Because that might be one of your only intelligent followers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. You genuinely interpreted it in the... most uncharitable manner possible. So I had to explain it to you, but most people I don't have to explain that to them.
It wasn't uncharitable. It wasn't uncharitable. I don't like...
Hey, reread your response to me.
How did you feel about the world raising American flags after 9/11?
Okay, that wasn't uncharitable, but it was assuming that if there were people on Twitter at the time during 9/11 that were not American, that didn't even know where America was 2 weeks before, I would have the same reaction. But most people know where America is. Most of the people raising American flags were American themselves. Like,
wait, hold on.
I would literally have, if America was a country that most of the people raising the flags up never knew about 2 weeks before, I would have the exact same reaction.
Well, what's the difference?
It's the idea of jumping on bandwagon politics that you don't understand and being so hardcore for it, but just for a short period of time because it's popular activism. Now, should you be supporting Ukraine in certain ways? I just described a friend of mine who is supporting them in what I think is a very beneficial, healthy way to do so. Do I think jumping on the bandwagon and doing TikTok dances for Ukraine and putting it on your profile like it's a Pandora charm is particularly helpful?
I think you're...
No, I don't.
No, that isn't. But I want to pick apart a few things. One, Ukraine was one of the most powerful states in the USSR. That wasn't Russia. And they had nukes. Most people have heard of Ukraine. So even if you can't point to it on a map, most people know Ukraine exists, and they know that at one point it was part of the USSR. And they know, even if they didn't know about this, they know the fact that Russia is invading it. Now they're just hearing about this country, this They could think of it as, fuck, why is Russia invading this pissant little country that's done nothing to them? People can come to these reasonable conclusions.
Actually, they did a study on this, and they found that the less likely you are to point out Ukraine on a map, the more likely you are to want America to get involved in the war there. Like, it's just this kind of stuff that makes you laugh.
That's silly, but at the end of the day, you, as an intelligent person, know that Russia is doing something bad, right?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I was worried we were gonna have to go on a different debate there. So you know that's happening. Why is it you don't believe it's reasonable for someone else? No, don't even bite that. You don't think it's reasonable for someone else?
No. I think it's upsetting the amount of people who aren't even willing to comprehend or understand why Russia might be acting the way they are. You can be against it and still try to understand the actions of another. And people, if you even try to explain the Russian perspective, if you even try to be like, hey, let's have some strategic empathy, they'll jump full on and be like, you're being paid by the Kremlin. You're like a Putin spy. And it's so just disgustingly stupid, the reaction people have to any nuanced conversation.
Except, okay, let's wrap this up. And if we want to go to that, I have a hard stop at midnight, but we're making good time. So
a hard stop at midnight?
Because I have a fucking job.
Imagine going to bed at midnight.
Okay, but that's not a hard stop. In industry lingo means that you have like an appointment or something.
No, hard stop means I calculate how long it's going to take me to get to fucking bed so I can go brush
I understand. Hold on, you have to sleep. I understand. Sorry, go ahead. Just finish. Okay, do your thing.
Shit. Anyway, overall, I think you are being inconsistent, or at the very least,
where? What are the two inconsistent things I'm saying?
I think that you believe. I'm sorry. Let me make sure that was the right word to use. Let me repeat the question a few times, and then see, I can't even think while doing that. I believe that you are being...
I'm the one who's drunk. I believe in you. You can do it.
I was working on it, but I didn't want to be too, it's like showing up to a date. You don't want to be drunk already. Not that I believe this is a date, but you
want them to be drunk already.
Anyway, so I believe that you made the comment, and I think that you are looking for reasons to not acknowledge that you made a broad brushstroke comment, and that you're looking at these in a negative way.
Of course it was a broad brushstroke comment. I was saying people with Ukrainian flags and Russian flags. That's like
right. But it was like, was that it's one of those, I hate saying, was that a necessary comment? Because most tweets aren't fucking necessary from any human being on this goddamn planet. It was a funny comment.
A lot of people enjoyed it. It had great engagement.
Is that how you judge if something is good?
99. I hate to tell you this, my friend. 99% of stuff on Twitter is not necessary. 99%.
I just said that. I already said that.
99% is not necessary. If you think Twitter is the place you go for necessary content, I have some bad news for you, my friend.
It's not. But again, you have this platform. You made these comments. It's like, but you seem to agree that most people are. You acknowledge most people are putting it up for a good reason, or at least a decent reason, to understanding there is an act of aggression.
They genuinely in their hearts feel they want to do something right for people who are suffering. I believe that. But
so when you have
the fact that they're acting like it's an RPG game.
I'm going to make a comment.
Especially when you see the Redditors.
I'm going to make a comment, and I don't mean it flippantly or to be disparaging, but you are a conservative, and I am seeing a lot of the pro-Putin shit. Is that the end of the comment? No. I am seeing a lot. I don't know how far conservative your audience still leans, right? So I know you're going through this whole, reassessment of beliefs and all that.
The reforming of Lauren Southern is a myth. It's a meme by the left. They all think I'm on this reformation tour when I'm not. I don't care what they think of me. I don't care.
I'm going to drop this little nugget in chat, and everyone else can pressure Destiny into this. Destiny had a guy come on and review one of his old videos where it was the JonTron discussion, and the guy just went point by point by point and talked to Destiny about it and said, "Hey, how do you tell me about this? How'd you feel about that?" So he had some pretty good, salient questions, and I think that it would be really good if Destiny did that. But yes, there is the belief that you are.
Wait, hold on. A couple of the judges are confused on what the fuck the topic is right now.
I'm getting to that.
Okay, sorry. Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you. He's getting to it, guys. Hold on.
So I don't know to what degree that is true, though. But I mean, I assume that you had some pretty radical fucking people following you 5 years ago, no? And I assume that you believe that either you've brought them all with you, which would be a good positive thing, or that you have evolved in your views from 5 years ago. Is that not the case?
I think everyone has radical people following them. I think you can't control that to a large degree. I mean, if you're saying like, I want to kill people or I want to do this or do that, sure. But no, I think that most political streamers will have people that are radicals that misinterpret their work following them.
Absolutely. But I think that your politics veered into the nationalist area that might have
What's wrong with nationalism?
I believe
Ukrainians
that pride
are extremely nationalist.
I believe that
them.
No. I believe that pride in a nation and wanting your nation to be strong and independent and all that stuff, that's all good, positive things. Believing that your country is the best, I see nothing wrong with that whatsoever. How you behave on that. I believe that nationalism is a word that you can say some nationalistic tendencies are healthy, but you can say to be a nationalist is probably not a good position to hold.
The entire judging panel right now wants a clear definition of nationalism so they don't get caught up on semantics. Can we get an explanation from both sides for what they consider nationalism to be?
Lauren?
My clear definition of what nationalism is? Why am I the one defining it when you're the one?
He wants one from both of us.
The judges just want to make sure we're all under agreement for what we're talking about when we say nationalism.
No, I want Lycan to define it since he's the one who brought up that he thinks I'm a nationalist and that's a bad thing.
I said nationalistic tendencies.
Wait, what's wrong with nationalistic tendencies?
I believe nationalism to be the ardent belief that your country is the best and that you have an idea of how that country exists and that you want it to continue to bolster whatever those ideals about your country that you view.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
Because people like the Nazis tend to take that a little too far.
Okay, so can't you take anything too far? The exact definition is identification with one's own nation and support for its interests. I see nothing wrong with that.
So here's why I am, yes, but when your interests trump those around you and then you go start, invading the Sudetenland, like it becomes an issue.
Yeah, but you can say that with anything. So what was wrong with my particular views around
that? So where I was going with that.
Advocating invading other countries because I so loved my own nation?
No. So two things. One, where I was going with the overall point is that I believe you have viewers who at one point or another, or may still have some problematic ideas. And the reason I don't want to go too far into your history is because I don't really follow a lot of your content. I haven't consumed a lot of it, but I've seen some of your videos with certain individuals that are problematic, and I can't speak exactly to every single involvement you've ever had.
So why are you even implying that I have bad views, that my viewers have bad views, when you know so little about me and my viewers? And
so I'm going to call a lifeline. I'm going to ask Steven to help me here, and I'm going to give Steven an idea of the overall approach that I'm going for. Steven, my belief is that she has had some bad interactions with certain individuals, some from a group that I can't remember that has blue shirts and they're supposedly white nationalists.
On this, like, jeez, if you
and the reason I'm bringing it up because if she still has followers within that belief, I was going to make some.
You don't even know what the belief is. You don't even know what the group is.
I said nationalistic.
Look into it a little. What's wrong with nationalism?
Wait, I'm sorry.
You can't even. You just said you kind of agree with nationalism anyway.
No. I said there are some ideas. There are good aspects of nationalism
other than when it's taken too far, which most
we usually call those
that when anything is taken too far, it's bad. When anything is taken too far, it's bad. Anything. Eating carrots too much is bad. If you only eat carrots, probably bad for you.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I can, Steven, either I know you know where I'm trying to go with this, so either you can help me out, or I'll just take the L and I'll try to move back to the original point.
I'm not even going to check with the judging panel on that one. I don't think I can help you there, Chief.
You can't.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So anyway, I'll take that L and I'll move on. My belief, let me try to gather my train of thought. It already left the station, but I'm running after it. I'm gonna grab a horse.
The judges are reminding you, like, you can take a quick break to get a drink if you need to, as Lauren got wine earlier, so.
I still got enough water left, it's all right.
Okay,
okay, that wasn't the point of the break.
I also don't have pants on, so.
Okay, well.
He took the tights off as to not offend Christians. He got naked as to not offend Christians.
No, you know what? Fuck this. I am gonna take the break.
Okay, good luck.
I'm gonna go get a drink. I'm gonna make you guys sit here and awkwardly watch me put my pants on.
It's not awkward at all. I enjoy it.
Do you want to help?
Help you take them off.
Oh.
Stop! Lauren, what are you drinking tonight? Share with us your wine of choice.
We are drinking Magic Box Cabernet, the amazing Cabernet from Australia.
Oof, a Cabernet, and you're pairing that with absolutely nothing right now?
I know, tragic. I was drinking a white wine before, too. It was just the wine I had in the house. What are you drinking tonight, Stephen?
I've got some Captain Morgan in the other room, and if this debate gets much more antagonizing, maybe I'll break it out, but probably not.
I feel like red wine is a terrible debate wine, because I'm getting, like, red teeth from this. Not good. Not cute.
Oh. What is the difference between red and a white wine? Why don't you explain for the audience what you think the difference is?
Well, one is the superior wine.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry. I was starting to... I think I got a little bit of lag on my side.
No, I do prefer a dry white wine to a red wine. Red wine you typically have with like steaks and meals. It's definitely a heavier wine.
What does it mean when a wine is
white
dry?
Wine, it's more fruity. You have with like a cheese plate. Like it's less sweet. So usually when you make the wine, I've made wine myself before, but I've indulged too much in it to explain the process right now. But when you make a dry wine, typically you're going to have more sour grapes. Anything that's dry, there's going to be... Nope, can't remember. Drank too much wine.
Keep hating your life then, working class Andy.
Cool.
Okay. Well, how'd you go? Did you find the arguments in the other room, Lycan?
I did. Excellent idea, Stephen. Thanks for the setup.
No problem. I got you, dude.
Okay, so what I was getting at overall is that if you did, not even saying you do, if you did have people that had some problematic beliefs, there are two groups that are in the West really getting on, Russia's side, and that's leftists, communists who think that Russia's this great utopia that will rise again and show you this time around that communism can really do it, and then people with Nazi-esque far-right extremist inclinations. Yeah. So if some of your audience had that type of propensity, higher than the average audience in the political spectrum, you would be signaling to them that any show of solidarity towards Ukraine is stupid. And sure, yes, you were saying, and Russia's stupid too, but you're kind of diminishing the idea that anyone should be showing solidarity for Ukraine.
Do you think we should be allowed to criticize Ukraine or Ukrainian information at all?
Absolutely.
Or reaction to Ukraine at all? Okay. So what's the problem with me criticizing both at the same time?
Because we're not talking about information, we're talking about
people reacting. Yeah.
So I can make the point. Let's say the Taliban, they do have a flag, but let's say that flag had an emoji that was available. And let's say once again that 9/11 happened a long time ago. With the happened now with social media existing. And we technically can trace back the actions of America to the 9/11 towers. We can trace it back to things that we should not have been doing. A little bit of colonialism, a little bit of intervention in the Middle East that we shouldn't have been involved with.
I think we should absolutely talk about that.
And then people can make those comments. So what if you have some fucking crazy people in the Middle East putting up Taliban flags, and you have a bunch of other people putting up American flags, more people putting up American flags, kind of akin to what's going on with Ukraine? Would you make that same comment?
If people were doing it on Twitter, yes. Absolutely.
You don't see any problem with that in any way by diminishing
I think
the American...
I think a lot of people choose their support for countries and geopolitical situations entirely based on popularity. The same way they would just pick a faction in an RPG. Absolutely. Whether it be America, whether it be Israel and Palestine, especially if they don't live there, any group. I think they do it entirely based on aesthetics. Unfortunately, that's not everyone, but it's a lot of people.
So, but except we can look at the case and we can say, yeah, sure, America shouldn't have fucked with the Russians when it came to Afghanistan. And technically, we did create the Taliban as it exists today. Sure. Maybe America shouldn't have had, drone strikes or, airstrikes pre 9/11. Maybe America shouldn't have had as much wheeling and dealing in certain other countries in the Middle East, North Africa region. But at the end of the day,
criticisms.
You would agree that 9/11 was an unacceptable act.
Of course.
Okay. So in that moment, when America was attacked, why would you bring up, then what about that other shit, right? I mean, the Taliban kind of had a point.
So we shouldn't bring up any criticisms of our own regime through a certain period of time because of one event.
Time and place.
Time and place.
In the moment where they're reeling from the attack.
How many weeks after the Russian invasion are we allowed to call out Ukrainian fake news?
Is that what your tweet was commenting on?
I'm just saying, like, how you're saying.
If you want to call out fake news, call it out now.
In general, we're not allowed to criticize.
I'm talking about you saying, "Hey, dipshits, don't put fucking flags in your profiles." I'm saying, would you really make that?
I didn't say that. I think if you understand the situation, if you are involved in it, and you actually especially if you're Ukrainian, if you're someone who has ties to Ukraine, you really understand the situation. Absolutely, full-fledged. But, and you know what? Even people who don't know much about it still think there's negatives to that. Still think there's a problem with a lot of people engaging in politics who don't know much about it. Probably shouldn't engage in the first place if you don't understand the situation. I've made that mistake before myself. I know this from experience. I know from experience that I probably shouldn't be commenting on things I don't understand fully. Yeah, you're probably acting like it's an RPG and you're just picking something out of popularity. Doesn't negate the statement. I think the statement is worthwhile being made, especially because it's kind of funny.
I need a web. I need a chart. I need a fucking board that I can write. I need to paint that with chalk paint so I can write on it, because we're going back to the other things where, again, you've acknowledged that people are intelligent enough to come up with some basic understanding of reality, the way with information that's put out there. You've agreed that Russia is heavily in the wrong in this situation, and you have said, therefore, there's nothing wrong with people showing solidarity with Ukraine, and that it is important.
They are in the wrong, but I think it's worthwhile to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Most people are not willing to do that.
I would like to come in and attempt to clarify, and then we can see if we agree with this, because we're kind of going around in circles. So, Lycan, I believe the current argument that you're faced with right now, I will summarize from Lauren's side, I should say if I'm misrepresenting, is that we can simultaneously agree with the cause that people are championing while criticizing them for championing said cause without really understanding anything about it. That these are two separate issues. So, for instance, somebody saying, like, hey, like, this model of physics is really good, and then them tweeting about that, if they don't know anything about what they're talking about, like, that particular model of physics might be good, but we can still make fun of people for tweeting about it without knowing anything about physics, is what the argument is, right?
Correct.
Sure.
Okay, so what are so do you have a disagreement with that position?
Yes, well, because in this example, I think there is a value to people showing solidarity with Ukraine, a people that is having to fight for itself because there's no NATO involvement aside from shipping over some weapons and some support. They don't have, it's them against Russia. So at the end of the day, they are still fighting a war that's very difficult. And those people are citizens.
Judge question for both sides then. If we could create a world where nobody tweeted about an issue without having at least a decent understanding about it, so they don't show solidarity on things for Israel, Palestine, Russia, whatever, without having at least a decent understanding about it, would that be a better world?
Absolutely. Chef's kiss. Make it happen. I don't care if that bars me from talking about certain subjects.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like there would be no disagreement there.
Wait,
okay, so we agree.
Wait, no, wait,
stop.
Wait, but isn't that what we're talking about? So you're like, are you essentially saying then that it would be better if people just didn't comment on things they didn't know anything about it?
Well, we're talking in general. I believe that the correct side here is that Russia's in the wrong, and then showing.
Well, sure, but we're not talking about what's correct. We're talking just about like a fundamental level of information that people would have, right?
Yeah, so I'm saying, yeah, of course. Like, if no one could tweet about jack shit unless they actually had a decent understanding of it, the world would be a much better place. 100%.
So then what is the disagreement on somebody else like her criticizing people that are tweeting about things without understanding anything about it?
Because they do. She's acknowledged that these people are able to come to a basic understanding.
That's not what we're talking about right now, right?
No, hold on.
Or go ahead. What's being talked about right now are the people that don't understand it. Because I think Lauren said earlier, if people did have a decent understanding about it, she was okay with them tweeting about it and all that.
Destiny.
Yeah.
Treat me like I'm a fucking, one of the dumbest people you've ever fucking debated, because I'm seeing a lot of Game of Thrones in chat, so I'm missing something that you're saying. Tell me, what am I missing?
Well, it sounds like her problem initially was that people can tweet and people can be correct, and that's cool, but it's a little bit cringe that people are just kind of like picking sides based on whatever they see their friends doing, whatever they see kind of like the media pushing. That right now, if the situation was literally exactly the same and no historical facts were changed. But instead, the media was like, Ukrainians are neo-Nazis, and Russia's clearing all these guys out. Everybody would be putting Russian flags on their Twitter profile. So the issue is that like people seem to be taking like strong positions on these things without knowing anything about it. And she is saying that if they want to, that's fine, and maybe there's even some good shit, whatever. But she's gonna make fun of people that do it because they're choosing it basically like they would choose like an RPG faction. Like they don't know anything about it, they're just choosing it's popular. And your counter argument seemed to be that, I don't think it's okay to make fun of those people because it's actually a good thing that they're choosing sides, even if they don't know much about it, for other reasons that you're arguing.
So I think in this case, people know enough to be able to put a Ukrainian flag.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think
you literally just said like 10 minutes ago that you're learning how little people know about Russian and Soviet history.
Right. They don't need to know that Russia is an aggressive superpower invading a much less equipped country under weak pretenses. So you don't need to be an expert in that. You need to watch the news for one night to come to that conclusion.
To understand when a big guy attack small guy, then big guy, bad guy, small guy, good guy. You don't think there might be more nuance to situations like that on a global scale?
You need to understand the weak pretext. Again, one night of news watching will give you the weak pretext that Russia is using, how they built that pretext for weeks leading up to it, and how that they should not be invading Ukraine. How Ukraine gave up their fucking
You're assuming
nukes.
people have even watched a week.
So, all right, let's fucking move into the next part of the debate. I know more shit about this fucking thing than most dumb fucks commentating on it. Oh, goddamn. So you want to talk 1991 to 1999? You want to talk Yeltsin?
Okay, whoa, chill, hold on. We're asking for a big chill. We're going to take 5 seconds for both sides to take a deep breath. We're shouting for no reason, okay? 2 of my judges are uncomfortable with this, all right? Calm down. Okay.
I don't. Okay. Let me just sniff some Old Spice or something.
Okay, good job. Okay, Lycan, go for it.
There is a lot of...
Someone in my chat just said, send this guy to the gulag.
Interesting. Interesting that would come from your chat.
Yeah, it's all... in fact, that's Putin directly commenting that in my chat.
Maybe I do need to keep this close. All right. So...
Offensive.
I'm sorry. So there is a lot of history, as people know, but they don't know the history. They just know there's a lot of it. The issue is
I'm so sorry.
I'm doing the Demon Mom thing where I just don't say anything, but I talk. No. So there is no good reason for Russia to be invading. Everything that Russia is doing right now is an attempt to recoup.
There's no good reason.
If you want to bring up,
they have no reasons for bad guy. Just do bad thing because bad.
I mean, in Russia's case,
I am very smart. Bad guy do bad things.
What do you know about the history of Russia between 1999?
Clearly nothing.
No, I'm asking you. What do you know about the history of Russia between 1999 and 2022?
Do you genuinely think that when countries invade other countries, they have no good reason? Or at least in their mind.
What's a good reason to you?
No good reason to them?
Like, do you think a good reason could be to them, could be a good reason that you could, as an outside observer with a history to look upon, could say they might think that's a good reason, but it's not.
I think if you are going to spend millions and millions of dollars and get your country sanctioned by every major superpower on Earth, minus China and a few others, you're probably going to have reasons that you think are good. And I would like you to articulate that reason, since you think there is no good reason.
Sure. All right. Let's start in 1991.
Wait. What reason do you think Putin might have or might say to his people or himself for why he's doing this?
It is a continuous act to the short version, because I'll give you the long version if everyone wants to sit through that. The short version is that Putin is trying to recoup what was lost during the fall of after the fall of the Soviet Union. You have all these NATO countries that he can't fucking touch without provoking a lot of the West. For instance,
Ukraine's not a NATO country.
That's what I'm saying. So Ukraine is one that he can do. Is there strategic significance to it? Absolutely. Were they invaded some 8 fucking times in history through Ukraine? Yes, absolutely. But there is no actual reason to believe that NATO is trying to move in, put themselves around Russia, and then actually do anything aggressive towards Russia.
There's no reason to believe when they were literally floating a NATO membership in front of them?
What's wrong with Ukraine joining NATO?
Wait, You just said there was no reason to believe that Ukraine was going to join NATO, and now you're saying
no.
Ukraine joining NATO.
Roll that beautiful bean footage back a little bit, and what Lycan actually said was NATO wasn't going to surround them and then invade them, wasn't going to negatively affect them. There isn't some Western attempt to fucking put the shackles on Russia in some way that's going to be a detriment to them.
Russia's going to perceive it that way anyways, because NATO is obviously opposed to Russia.
Russia's going to perceive it that way because Putin is super butthurt about the fall of the Soviet Union and has been working since he got elected in 1999 to return Russia to the autocracy that it once was.
Are Putin and NATO aligned?
What do you mean by that question?
Are Russia
Because the
NATO
obvious
aligned?
Answer is no, but I want to know what you're getting at with that question.
So, Ukraine joining NATO, would they see that as a threat?
Would they see it? Wait, hold on. What would they say publicly versus what would be the reason?
Would Russia see Ukraine joining NATO as a threat?
No.
You don't think that?
No,
even though they've said that 1,000 times and obviously think it's a threat.
What is it a threat to? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase.
I think it's a threat to have Western control of a nation that they believe should be a buffer state.
Okay, exactly. No, they see it as a threat.
They don't see that as a threat.
They see it as they see it as a threat to their ability to recoup previously lost land and to set themselves up in positive strategic ways for a possible future conflict.
They don't see Americans being able to build up troops in Ukraine and Western powers building up troops in Ukraine as a threat to them.
Hold on. Let's say that every country around Russia.
I'm not saying they're correct. I'm saying how they would perceive
I'm telling you exactly how it's perceived. It's not a matter of them fearing.
Have you ever read any of Putin's speeches? Have you read any of Dugin? Have you read any of their theory around this? Because it sounds like you haven't, because they do believe it's a threat.
No. But they publicly say
even if
it's
I
a very
absolutely
weak.
agree.
Whoa, we got a lot of talking over each other. Reminder: can the two contestants please allow the other to say their piece?
I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead.
I think Lauren is done. Go, Lycan.
There is more work to be done when it comes to Russia. You can't just look at what's being said by Putin and say, see, that's the reason why. It's pretense. The real reason they don't want people around, they don't want Ukraine to join NATO, is because it is strategically significant, not just for invasions to Russia, for deployments from Russia. It is a piece of land that is very significant to their military power around the world. And it's also a very important country to have.
So of course they're going to see it as a threat when it's in control by another power.
There is a difference. There's a difference between seeing it as a threat because you think you are going to be aggressed upon and seeing it as something that is necessary for your future military strategy as an act of aggression.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Do you think the West at any point in the time in the next 100 years is planning to build up strength and invade Russia and take them over?
No, I think the West do things through more diplomatic and social aspects.
Do you know? Okay, cool. So let's go back to 1991 to 1999. Do you know the relationship the West had with Russia?
You tell me your perception of it.
We gave them every ability to reform their economy. We didn't hold trials for all the shit they did in the USSR. We didn't do the Nuremberg like we should have to Russia. So we let them get away with a whole lot of shit. And then from actually up until fucking 2014 when they invaded Crimea, we engaged with them economically. We engaged with them politically. We gave them so many moments where Yeltsin and Putin and then the fucking lapdog that took over from 2012 to 2008 to 2012 or whatever that was, where we made him look like a legitimate thing instead of, the puppet for Putin that he was. We have all these things that legitimized him in the public eye, right? Gave him a lot of power, and that did a lot of harm.
I don't disagree with any of this. What's your point?
The point is that Russia's not here to make good on some, safety net that they need around their country.
I'm not saying that either. I'm saying they believe, from their perspective, from the Russian perspective, from what they're putting in the media, they believe that NATO is a threat. Ukraine joining NATO is a threat. They feel it is a betrayal that it was even considered to have NATO in Ukraine. They probably see invasion of Ukraine now as a slim option, as we can invade now, otherwise they're probably going to eventually join NATO and have more US forces in them, and we want to take this territory now, otherwise we're not going to be able to get it in the future. Wrong, absolutely, but I'm talking about what we think their reasoning is, and I think it's ridiculous that people aren't even willing to consider what they may be thinking and having some strategic empathy.
There's a difference between saying, when you say their reason, and you talk about the state-run media's reason that they give to the public, versus the evidence from Putin's actions since taking office, there's a totally different reason there.
So what I agree with the reasons you've stated as well. He wants to recoup what the Soviet Union used to be. I agree with that. But when you say there's no reason, I think that is the dumbest shit on the planet.
I think you're splitting hairs when you do that. Because when I say no reason, I say no. If I said no good reason, would you still push back?
Even a murderer, like if someone murdered me, I would assume they have a reason.
So when you lean on,
and I would try to logically have a conversation about what the reason was, as much as I 1000% would be like, hey, murdering me is fucking wrong. Can
I step in real quick to clarify? Hold on. Stepping in for a quick clarification so that we don't argue too much on this. So when Lauren is saying that Russia has a reason, she's not saying that they have like a proper justification that like empirically or objectively makes their invasion justified. She's just saying that from their perspective, they have a good reason to invade, right?
Except earlier in our conversation, the way she's implying it is as if it's a reason to consider in order to think that people taking Ukraine's side is stupid. Like,
what are you connecting that to? Not saying anyone taking Ukraine's side is stupid
or wrong, or doing it, that the lack of nuance, that the lack of nuance, the lack of understanding and the lack of nuance in their opinion for supporting Ukraine might be altered if they understood the reason that Russia was taking that aggression. That's how it came off.
Saying no, you're arguing with someone who doesn't.
Okay, you made that. Steven, am I off in my interpretation of this from earlier?
So what I remember her saying, was that it was a little bit cringe that people are pretending like you can't even fathom for a moment why Russia might be doing what they're doing, and that to even begin to explore those thoughts all of a sudden makes you like a Kremlin stooge. That's what I heard earlier.
Yes.
Yordle. Okay. My interpretation was that you believe that people are choosing Ukraine, and if they knew more, they would maybe be a little more understanding of the Russian perspective.
Wait, hold on. I want to clarify. I want to clarify to not waste a lot of time here. I want to clarify. Okay, these are two separate arguments. They're two separate things are being addressed, okay? So the first point was that people are choosing sides because the media is whatever it is right now in the United States. So people choose it because it's a good virtue signal, fun to get likes on Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The second part, a second unrelated argument, is that you can't publicly have a discussion about what Russia's motivations or concerns might be because people automatically assume, which is kind of what you've done in this conversation, they automatically assume you're defending Russia. They automatically assume that you're saying that they have like a moral imperative or they've got some righteous mandate from God to do it just because you're considering for a moment their strategic objectives or their geopolitical concerns.
But if you want, okay, then if that's the case, and if I buy that, why even bring it up if Russia is so in the wrong?
Because strategic empathy is the first aspect of being able to defeat your enemy. Holy shit, if you can't even know what their motivations are.
There's a difference. Wait, strategic empathy versus tactical and strategic analysis are two different things. Explain this empathy thing. What does empathy have to do with understanding the bullshit reason proffered by state-run media and a lying government that has ulterior motives that are significant and harmful to both the West and those who neighbor the country that is doing the action? What is the point of even giving credence to that?
Because if you can't understand why someone is doing what they're doing, you're never going to be able to oppose it on even just a social level, let alone a military level.
Understanding it is fine. I can do that real quick. Vladimir Putin is the closest thing we have to a villain outside of the Kim Jong-un villain.
Literally Hitler. Vladimir Putin is literally just doing
what you're doing right now.
He's a bad man, and bad people do bad things.
What you're doing is you're being dismissive of the fact that Putin actually is an evil person. Like, do you not know what he's fucking done to his country?
His army are going to go out and shoot people because their government has told them, hey guys, we're going to do bad things because we're literally the incarnation of Voldemort. Let's go do bad things to good people. You think that's the reason they've been given to go out and do shit?
Do you think Hitler did that?
Of course. This is why we spend years. Like when I was in school and I studied history, we literally watched tons of Hitler's propaganda that he gave to his people, the understanding and reasonings that he gave to his people to do what they were doing. And we should be doing that now, but we're incapable of it because anyone who talks about any possible reason that Putin could give to his people for invading Ukraine is called a Kremlin spy.
What news have you been watching? Because the news that I've been watching has been talking about the West versus
like Voldemort.
Russia. What news are you watching? Because I see that nuance in the discussions that I'm watching on political talk shows.
People are literally banning Russian mustard.
Yeah, well, hold on, no. See, that's a non sequitur. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with our conversation. That has nothing to do with our conversation.
Yes, it does.
No,
people are delusional when they talk about.
We're talking about people posting the basic thing, the understanding that Ukraine is in the right, Russia's in the wrong. I stand with Ukraine. Fuck you, Russia. That's the basic level thing. We're not talking about
Russia is invading Ukraine because he's literally Voldemort and we're Harry Potter. That's their understanding of the situation, and that is a bad understanding.
Easy there, JK. All right. The reality is that Russia is in the wrong and is doing things under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, who is doing things for.
Okay, wait, stop. We're looping. Wait. We're looping. Okay. Nobody. So you're having two conversations right now that are separate. Okay. Lycan, you're trying to argue whether or not the justification is good with respect to some moral claim, and Lauren is just trying to argue whether or not there exists some legitimate concern in the eyes of Russia for what they're doing. There are two separate conversations happening right now.
When you say, hold on, all right, then clarify further. When you say in the eyes of Russia, I don't give a fuck about what is proffered by the state-run media. I care about what the actual...
But it matters.
No. We're not talking to Russian citizens right now. We're talking to the global community.
They exist in the world, and they're the ones fighting this war and bombing people. How the fuck should we not care about what they think?
Because we can't convince them to stop fucking acting. Otherwise, they go to the goddamn gulag, dog.
It's not even about convincing them. It's about being able to understand why they are acting the way they're acting.
And that's why we don't fucking commit war crimes against the fucking people that get captured. Yes, if you want to have that conversation to promote that reasoning so the fucking Ukrainians stop doing crazy shit so we don't have to have a referendum against them for that shit, that's fine. But what my issue is that at the end of the day, when we're talking about what is right and what is wrong in this situation, I care more about what the Kremlin is doing and what they want than what's being talked about on the media. What does the empathy of understanding of what's been sent through their propaganda channels, what is the fucking point of that? Why does that matter when it comes to understanding, is it okay to support Ukraine?
Do not understand your foe, Sun Tzu, fucking chapter 2. Like,
yeah.
Okay, wait, can I interject? Can I interject a little bit here? Okay. Okay. So if I were to ask you the question, why did the United States invade Iraq to get rid of Saddam Hussein? What would your answer be for that, Lycan?
Like, do you want the actual answer?
Yeah, well, okay. Like, so what you just said is important because there's going to be a difference between the United States' actual objectives there versus what was sold to the public. But both of these are probably pretty important to understand because in the United States, we're a democracy and the government, whether people believe it or not, actually does get its power from the people. There's a reason why multiple stories are sold, right? The government might have objectives, but the people are sold a different story as well, right? So I think we can argue it's probably good to be familiar with both of these, yeah?
I think, well, no, because going back in retrospect, because I was a big Iraq war supporter, up until actually just like the last year. And then, I did some learning and found that like a lot of the information that was out there about why we should not be invading was available and it was there. And we had a national, hysteria after 9/11 that probably contributed to our inability to process that information in a healthy way that would have led to different outcomes.
Sure.
So while I think that...
Wait, what you just said, different information would have led to different outcomes, right? I think is the point of people saying, maybe whether it's all propaganda or not, right? There is probably some reason why my understanding is right now, the majority of Russians support the invasion into Ukraine. probably good to know why, right? I think that's not that controversial to say.
No, listen, Steven, all Russians want to eat Ukrainian
Shut
babies,
the fuck up.
and that's their one goal.
Stop.
You have to understand.
Stop.
This.
Drink
she
more.
She can make the joke. She's not talking about me, so that's fine.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying. So my thought is that I don't look. So we're talking about in the global discussion, people taking a side. This all originates from just people taking the basic level of solidarity that you can take.
Well, but that wasn't where the topic was right now. Right now, the topic was just understanding Russia, not necessarily taking a side. That's why I said there were two conversations going on.
So for me, this all roots back to, is it okay? And do you need to, because she kept alluding to these things. I'm sorry, not meaning to talk like you're not here. Lauren, you're alluding to these things like Ukraine or people are taking the side of Ukraine, but maybe people should be a little more empathetic and understanding to, why Russia is doing this. And I'm saying the reason Russia is doing this doesn't matter. They're giving public propaganda, and on the back end, there is a deeper motive to this, to where there is no reason, even with understanding that, to be any way empathetic towards Russia.
You're right. We shouldn't understand at all what they're doing. You're correct.
No, I think we should understand it, but the reason we should understand it is for policy reasons and for us to prepare whether or not we take action.
I'm so glad we agree.
I'm sorry, Stephen, did I miss the part? Maybe I misunderstood, but it seemed to me that the reason she kept bringing that up was as to pick apart my argument that there's nothing wrong with people showing solidarity for Ukraine. That seemed to be every time that I would bring that up.
Again, these are two different. That's why I keep saying these are two different arguments.
So then we could say that she was pivoting?
No, it's just we're having like two different discussions. I think we moved on from that.
This is a continuation of that argument.
Okay, how do they relate? Tie it in.
To that, when I bring up, there is nothing wrong with these people choosing this, and she says, yeah, but they're uninformed. There are some other reasons why Russia would invade. Mm-hmm. It's like, but none of them are good. None of them whatsoever are good.
Yeah, but they don't have to be good for you to know what the reasons are, right?
They don't have to be good for me to know the reasons, but they have to be good to say, therefore, one might want to pause before putting that Ukrainian flag in your Twitter bio.
Not pause, but like at least understand what it means that you're putting it there, right?
I think overall that would be a positive.
Are you caught up on Attack on Titan right now?
No, I don't watch that.
God damn it.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it that way. I don't watch it. Like, I want to watch it. I just haven't committed to it.
Sure. I have nothing else.
It's a great show. You should watch it.
So either way, the point is that
show that supports
shut the
borders
fuck up. No.
and nationalism. It's inherently a right-wing show, much like Stardew Valley is inherently a right-wing video game.
We found the fucking Jaegerists.
I've never played that one either.
Keep going.
Oh, Lauren, I love you. This whole thing is a ruse, and I did it so I could finally, for years, I have been following your work. I am a deep, desperate fan, and I'm sorry to pull this on you, but the way you say Obama, God, that was just the cherry on top of years of lust and love. A lot of men want to be
stepped on by me, so I understand. But.
Someone said that the other day, and you are not tall enough for stepping. You're 5'6", like... It doesn't make sense.
To be clear, she's like 6 feet tall. I don't know where 5'6" comes from. That is absolutely not true.
Right, relax.
It's absolutely not true.
Google is incorrect.
Anyway, my overall point is that anything that gives, I think, open and honest conversations, the tough conversations where we bring up points that make us feel uncomfortable, such as someone wanting to say, like, I don't like the way you're talking about, this is going a different direction, I promise. The way you're telling me that people are reacting to this, I've seen that, and I don't like that. I don't like in any conversation where you can't bring up any sort of counterpoint or any furthering of the discussion or enrichment of the discourse, and people freak the fuck out because it's not exactly the hard line that think you ought to be holding. So therefore, Russia bad, and people lose their shit because you don't want to say anything except Russia bad. Yeah, I think that's kind of dumb. But in this conversation where we're talking about the actual act of supporting Ukraine, the basic fact that Russia is wrong, I don't see there is anything salient to be found by bringing up, yeah, but Russia has their reasons. In that context, in the context of showing support, because you and I, as intelligent people who understand the history of Russia and who have that deeper understanding of the system, unless you disagree and think there actually is a good reason, I think it doesn't serve us at all to say, yeah, but Russia.
Where did I say, yeah, but Russia?
every time that you brought up, yeah, but there's nuance, and I don't like the fact that people are showing the support for Ukraine without the nuance. If you and I already know it's bad.
No, it's not even that I don't support people showing Ukraine without nuance. It's that it's that I find it funny. People are supporting Ukraine without understanding the situation at all, even just from the Ukrainian perspective.
What more do you need to understand? The basic human idea of wanting your country to be free.
You can make a lot of things seem like a basic correct idea just from a surface level explanation of them.
You can but is that happening right now?
You can make fascism, Nazism, you can make Russia's perspective seem like the basic correct idea if you just take a surface level look at it from their perspective. If you just watched RT for 1 second and it told you, hey, we're invading Ukraine because the West want to invade us and because NATO is expanding and they want Russian identity to be crushed beneath the boots of liberal globalism, that can seem correct, which is why perhaps you should start believing in studying situations a bit more before fully indulging in believing them.
I'm actually upset with myself because I looked over and saw my vape and I grabbed it and I lost my train of thought again. What does that have to, okay, got it. So why bring that up in a situation that is pretty clear cut and dry? Ukraine is in the right. Ukraine is being aggressive.
It seems cut and dry when you're looking at it from your media's perspective. When you're looking at it,
but we have the deeper understanding and we know they're right. But we know they're right. In this situation, we know they're right. So why bring that up? Why disparage the movement?
Yeah,
if you know it's right.
You could say that exact same thing in Russia in support of Putin. You could say that exact same sentence.
So then, wait, do you disagree then? Do you disagree?
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, let's advance this conversation. Okay, hold on. Okay, Lycan. The point is that everything that you're saying in terms of it's being correct, like from a Russian perspective, propaganda aside, they would argue that they're correct as well, right? The Russian perspective is that the West is in a perpetual state of decline, okay? That Russia will be the nation to replace it, that NATO is aggressively threatening Russia's, call it their current sovereignty, their potential future dominion, their ability to have a place on the world stage with their NATO expansion, and that there's a red line where Ukraine exists, where if they are allowed to join NATO, even if the West does collapse, Russia's future positions to negotiate anything on the world stage have just been completely and utterly compromised. And from their perspective, the West is only doing this as an antagonistic action towards Russia. So from their perspective, even propaganda aside, they would say, okay, well, hold on. We have a right to assert our interest in these areas, just like the United States does all across the Middle East, just like Israel does in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip, just like the United States did in Afghanistan, just like they did in Iraq, where they literally dismantled a government. Right? Russia would make all of these same statements. And from their perspective, there might be an actual good, an actual justified answer, right? Now, from our Western perspective, and maybe from even some more like grounded moral positions, you might be able to argue against it. But from a realist perspective for Russia, like they could be expected to defend their interests as a nation that would be fully justified from their perspective. And even if we don't agree with that, maybe it's good to understand that, if for no other reason than just to avoid triggering these types of responses in the future, or at least understanding how people will respond if these are triggered in the future, right? I don't think that's a disagreeable position, right?
It's not. I understand that. But this was brought up in the context of, again, the shows of solidarity and people choosing their side.
Yeah, but nobody's against people showing solidarity. Just that sometimes it's a little cringe if you don't know what you're even showing solidarity for.
But how much more in-depth does the average person need than Russia is taking aggression?
And Russia bad. West,
well, no.
good.
See, you Ukraine, do that, and it's very belittling of the argument I'm making, which is that I am saying Russia is bad, and you know they're bad. Oh, I'm sorry. Is Russia bad? Is Russia?
Hold on. As a judge, I'm going to say calling a country bad is just so unbelievably
you know what? Is Russia,
simplistic. It just
you're right.
The problem is you miss so much of what's going on, right? Like for instance, ISIS bad. Well, why are like well-meaning people in Europe that are like middle class, not impoverished people, like leaving Europe to join and fight for ISIS. It doesn't make sense. If ISIS is so clearly and obviously bad, why the fuck would you have these like decent, moderate Muslims, not extremists, not fundamentalists, but people leaving Europe to go and fight for them, right? Well, there must be something there that begs a deeper understanding, right? And anytime we get into the business of calling countries good or bad, it's the same type of stupid, hyperactive shit that lefties engage in when they say like America bad. It's Hasan's analysis of America, right? America bad.
I'm gonna take a 2-second break.
Good.
I'm gonna be right back. You guys have fun arguing.
I'm not arguing. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, bye.
Okay, we gotta find. Oh, hold on. Okay, like we gotta find the killer argument. Wait, Lycan, she's 1,000,000%. Hold on, let me explain both of her points, okay? Fuck, okay? Here's her 2 different points, okay? The first point is that people are taking a strong side on this issue without having any fucking idea what they're talking about. That is absolutely fucking true. This is why I cringe when you get these morons that are retweeting shit like, oh my god, look at this Ukrainian tank. You don't know what model tank this is. You don't know if that's a Russian tank. You don't know if this is a picture from fucking Call of Duty or Battlefield or a fucking war in Afghanistan fucking 20 years ago. No one has any idea what they're tweeting. They're fucking retweeting Arma 3 clips, jerking off that the ghost of Kiev is flying over the skies, shooting down fucking MiGs from some Soviet Air Force that doesn't exist anymore, right? People have no idea what's going on, right?
Yep.
Now, we can say that it's cool, it's good that people are showing solidarity with, I guess, like US geopolitical strategy or whatever, which I guess is okay, right? But we can also be critical and say it's a little bit cringe that you're sitting here, kind of like how I make fun of like lefties, and even myself, right? Progressives who are like so woke on like black issues, but like name 2 black people besides like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, right? It's like, well, I don't know, there's Jay-Z and Kanye West, right? Like people will do this shit. Like name something that Martin Luther King has done besides the letter to Birmingham and the I Have a Dream speech, right? Oh fuck, I guess he was a minister or something, right? That this is like the idea. It's okay that people are supporting things, even if we agree with them. That's good that they're supporting them. That's good. But we can also like make fun of the fact that yeah, people are supporting shit that they really have no fucking idea about, you know. And it happens on both sides, yeah.
You know when someone like is a fan of a band and like you know they listen to some music, but there's that hipster that's like, yeah, but you don't really understand them because they know the lore, the history, the reason behind the songs, and all the other little nuanced shit, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what's happening right here, which is like, dog, they like the fucking music.
Yeah, but the problem is that like nobody has any idea what the fuck is going on. Even Hasan doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He talks about this shit all day, right? Like so, nobody that's putting the flags up has any idea. None of them can find Ukraine on a map. None of them know if Kiev is like the name of a building or fucking half the people don't even know what the fuck the Kremlin is. People just say when they say Kremlin, maybe that's a nickname for Putin. Like half the people don't even know what the fuck that is, right? So like the idea that people have become more informed of the issue is probably not true. I don't think so. Like if you were to poll the average American, right? Like, well, what is the Kremlin? It's like, oh, well, he's a mean guy. It's probably what they respond with, you know, right?
What's the appropriate level of informed you would need, Lauren, for people to be, for them to put the flag in their bio?
Literally, if they spent 30 minutes looking at
No. I want to know what knowledge you need them to know. I want to know at exact points, and I don't mean like exact in like some super hyper fucking intense academic way, but I want to know the overarching bullet points of what you want them to be informed on so they can actually put that Ukrainian flag in their bio and show solidarity.
It's not about a specific amount of bullet points. It's not about like you have to hit this to approve Lauren's checklist. It's literally about them doing it for any other reason than it's socially popular.
You mean, well, hold on, because like, yeah, it's socially popular.
What definitely upsets me is that a lot of these people would literally be like, yo, gas the fucking Jews, if that were popular today. And I genuinely believe that wholeheartedly.
Well, that's a problem with humanity, but that's also a non sequitur. At the end of the day, I want to know if you fucking pick some random person out of the crowd that had one of those flags in their bios, what would you expect them to know to be like, oh, okay, no, you have a good understanding and your support for Ukraine is acceptable to me? Give me a few. Give me 3 bullet points.
If they were doing it for anything other than popularity, literally just like a general understanding. Like
you don't know that they did it for popularity. But again, hold on. We already talked earlier.
TikTok dances for Ukraine are absolutely doing it for popularity.
Hold on. First of all, stick with the flags. Second of all, we already established that, yeah, people might do it for popularity, but it has a positive impact. Once again, the ALS thing, people doing the ice bucket challenge. More money raised, once again, in that year than when Lou Gehrig was announced with the disease. So we can understand there's a positive side there. So you have a problem with it. Overall, I already agreed with you that people should be more informed.
I didn't disagree with you that there's maybe a positive benefit to people doing the right thing, even if they're doing it for a stupid cause. But the problem is that when people do things for a stupid reason, like popularity, that can turn against you in a minute.
You're assuming that most people are doing it for that reason.
There's a lot of people.
You don't think that most people understand that Russia's in the wrong and want Ukraine?
Listen, the problem is when people do things purely for popularity, they will also commit genocide for popularity. They'll support genocidal acts. They'll support Putin because it's popular in their country. And that's the problem with doing things because it's popular, is when you get a regime that shows you things that all sound great and good from their propaganda channels, and people just do it because it sounds nice and it's popular in your country, you'll support it even if it's the wrong thing to do.
Do you think this is a serious conversation people should be having? The conversation we're having as far as like the meta conversation of people understanding why they tweet what they do, why they interact with social media the way they do, and why they engage with causes the way they do. I assume that based on what you've said, you as well, Destiny, would agree that would be a positive. I think we all agreed that if people were more informed in what they engaged with on Twitter, the world would be a better place, right?
I don't think the issue is so much that. The problem is that, so this is something.
Well, no, there's a follow-on point to that after everyone says yes.
Okay, go.
So wouldn't there be been a better fucking thing to tweet than making fun of people for putting up the flags, especially if you can acknowledge there is a positive to the people putting the flags?
There may be a positive to it, but the problem is there's such a drastic negative when used in the wrong that we must acknowledge it. Even
if at the end of the day
it was a joke, acknowledging that people just do things for popularity is absolutely important.
Shouldn't you start that conversation in a way that actually starts that conversation instead of makes people laugh?
I think pointing out that people, I think humor is an immensely effective way of pointing out political issues.
All that did is make people who agree with you on this and think people shouldn't be doing this laugh at this one, but then they'll go do the same thing for their own because people are the way people are. They're going to go, the same people that are going to shit on people for this are going to go find some other issue and they're going to post their own shit for that.
Wait, explain that further.
So you have some liberal issue and people change their fucking background color on their Facebook profile to that. And every fucking conservative bitches about it and says, oh, do you think that's doing anything? And then some fucking cop dies and a bunch of conservatives are putting the blue line behind their image. And then it's like, everyone's going to still do the same thing, even though they laughed at your moment. So maybe you should actually start the conversation.
If someone were to make a joke about how conservatives don't understand the Black Lives Matter arguments at all, I would actually massively support that, especially if they could point out how conservatives
no.
Black Lives Matter and
that's a pivot away from the point I'm making, which is
that's not a pivot away. It's the same example.
No,
if there were a bunch of people putting Blue Lives Matter posters in their bios that couldn't explain for 2 seconds how Black Lives Matter feel or the Black perspective on the issue at all, I would think that was a fair criticism through comedy.
The good faith interpretation of your response to what I just said is that you missed my point, which is you made a comment. You chose your effort to put out into the world was to make this comment. And to what I've seen on your Twitter, there was no follow-up commentary about the way people engage with these social issues. So you made that comment, and now those same people that laughed at your comment, when the social issue that comes around that they want to then engage with in the same way as putting a flag or changing your background, they're still going to do it because you didn't start a discussion that actually made them think about that. All you did was, make them laugh at the people engaging in this.
Your criticism of me could be, Lauren, you need to do that more for your own side, which I would accept. That's fine.
Well, so no, my primary criticism is that
hasn't been that. Your criticism has been don't make the criticism at all because it's negative because the cause they're supporting is good, which could be made towards the BLM stuff as well. Lauren, you know, murdering a cop is bad. So people putting pro cop signs or flags in their bio is a good thing because obviously murdering cops is bad. Well, no, it's not as simple as that.
So if we're I'm trying to think of how to navigate this so it doesn't go to a tangent and stay on point. The two issues are that, one, putting the flag in the bio has an impact on the people of Ukraine. So if you're going to disparage it, I think you should have a good reason. And if your reason is just, well, they don't understand the full issue fully, you, I, Destiny, and many others who are more familiar with the Russia situation and Ukraine and the history and all that, seem to come to the same conclusion that Russia is in the wrong. So I say to you,
Okay, wait, hold on. I think the issue is not this issue. The issue is the process by which the public supports something. Because a public that can be very easily led by the media into one conflict that we see as rationally or morally justified could just as easily be led into a conflict like the Iraq War that probably isn't. I think that's the overarching point that's being made.
Well, they could, but to me, the commentary dissents, the commentary that Lauren made through the tweet, dissents against the idea that anyone should be showing solidarity.
I don't think that was the point.
How?
Or go ahead.
I see it because you're saying people doing this are LARPing RPG shitheads.
There are people that are doing it that are. Do you disagree?
No, not at all. But again, the commentary, no, because it's you have to take everything into account. It's the comment you made, it's who you are, it's the platform you made it on, it's the way you made it. When you take all things into consideration, it's not as cut and dry as you seem to think it was.
Okay, so you understand the criticism I'm making, I hope, that there's a problem with people who don't understand topics jumping onto social bandwagons, because if they just jump onto social bandwagons without understanding them, they can sometimes jump onto social bandwagons that are extremely negative and bad, including supporting Russian invasion of Ukraine if they are in a different context in Russia where the social bandwagon would be supporting Putin. So we need to have a higher expectation of people to jump onto bandwagons because they've actually looked into a topic and agree that it is the morally good.
That is the comment. Yes,
support.
That's the criticism you're giving me here, but not there on Twitter.
What would you tweet in place of what I tweeted to criticize the fact that there are people jumping on bandwagons?
I already said that. I said the second tweet you followed up with, and just changing it to people putting Russian and Ukrainian flags on Twitter behind some anon account and arguing with each other with fucking memes is galling. Like, you could have made that tweet, and that was a much more nuanced and impactful and significant tweet.
I made that tweet to you. Most people didn't need that clarification.
No,
most people did not need that clarification. You did, because you are coming at this from a very bizarre standpoint, in my opinion.
It's not bizarre at all. You made a commentary about people putting the flags in their profile. You didn't say just the dumb fucking anon accounts fighting about it. So when you say people putting it up are doing the RPG things and just picking sides, that means everyone. When you don't put the qualifiers.
When did I say everyone? I said there are people doing this.
People putting. You didn't say there are. You said people putting Ukraine. That phrase alone. People putting Ukraine and Russia flags in their Twitter handles. The end. That says everyone. They're choosing RPG factions.
There are people.
That's the way it comes off to any normal human being with an understanding of the English language.
I'm speaking in Ebonics. Sorry, you're not progressive enough to understand.
It's not called Ebonics anymore. Miss.
Okay. My apologies, sir.
Real quick, hold on. Steven.
That's my name.
I'm seeing fucking dumb shit cunt heads saying, Lycan dropping the point again after Destiny handed over. Can you please just baby me and tell me what fucking point I'm missing?
I think it's already been stated. It's just that, like, people that are supporting things for dumb reasons can support other things for dumb reasons. Even if their heart's in the right place.
I agree with this. What am I missing? What is the piece I'm missing?
It seems like what Lauren is saying, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like what she's saying is that, like, if people are only supporting a cause because the media is telling people to support it, you know, we should make fun of those people because you should.
Wait, hold on. There's a difference between the media telling people they should support it and the news telling people that Russia is bad because they've done the analysis. And most fucking news stations are trustworthy to the degree that they can make this.
Okay, if I were to, honest to God, ask the majority of Americans that support the U.S. and Ukraine right now, like, just to give like an incredibly brief summary of why, you know, Russia is interested in Ukraine. Do you think that more or less than half of Americans could do this? They could utter something to the effect of, well, Russia maybe feels a little bit intimidated or threatened by NATO expanding into Ukraine and the historic ties between Ukraine and the former Soviet Union, you know, make it a pretty important piece for Russia to have, you know, strategically and maybe even economically. Do you think that most people would be able to understand, like, just explain that really, really, really basic part?
I mean, so when I say basic, like, I think most people would be able to say Russia, or if they said Ukraine is a free country and Russia is aggressing upon them when they have no right to, I would take that as that's enough reason to support Ukraine.
Okay, then why didn't every single American support the sovereign state of Iraq when the United States invaded to depose the leader there? When we invaded, because that was a sovereign state, and we rolled a whole army in there. We fucking destroyed them in like 1 week, and we got rid of Saddam Hussein. Why wouldn't Americans have supported Saddam Hussein?
So this is where I go into the we know more. So we know that that Putin is using propaganda.
Well, no, wait. How many people know this? That's the whole thing, right? How many people actually know this?
Well, no. So what I'm saying is, so if we know that what the American people understand is correct, why are we going to nitpick and say, yeah, but did you fucking read this book and that book?
Okay,
that's not how it works.
We agree that it is how it works. We agree that what happened to Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend at the time was wrong, right? It was bullshit.
Yes, but at the same time, we agree that the media should not have said that she was shot in her fucking bed.
Exactly. So every time I see somebody tweet, we need to do something about people like Breonna Taylor getting killed in bed, I'll make fun of that person. Now,
but you know what I'm not going to make fun of?
Hold on. Their heart's in the right place, and we probably might even agree on some of the social prescriptions, but they're factually wrong about the fact of the matter. And that's harmful. When we look at riots in Kenosha that happened because people thought that Jacob Blake was unjustifiably shot in the back 6 times by a bloodthirsty pig just looking to kill black people, well, that's the symptom, the same type of problem as people thinking Breonna Taylor was, shot and killed in bed. So even if our heart's in the right place and we might be supporting the right cause for the wrong reasons or whatever, we might end up supporting a wrong cause later on because we're accepting, a poor level of information to make decisions about things at one point in time, right?
I have a problem with people in Kenosha rioting because they misunderstood the arrest of Jacob Blake and the shooting of Jacob Blake.
Okay, but if they were in the right, if that really was as it was, maybe they deserve to riot, right? If it really was the case that a police officer shot Jacob Blake 6 times in the back for no reason, maybe that's worth getting upset over, right?
Maybe, but what I'm saying is if they were to go and riot for the reason that was wrong, which is what happened when it came to Jacob Blake, my issue is that I take umbrage with that. I have a huge fucking problem with that. But I wouldn't have a problem if someone was like, Breonna was fucking shot in her bed, and therefore I am petitioning for police officers to be funded for more training so that these incidents don't happen again, and petitioning for laws to be changed when it comes to no-knock warrants to better prevent these situations from happening.
Yeah, but what happens when you start to build? What happens when you start to build a narrative around lie after lie after lie after lie? Eventually, people don't even know what's true anymore, right? And as much as I hate to say it, a lot of the BLM stories, people have no fucking idea what the fuck happened. People think that Michael Brown was like an innocent dude that just got shot in the back by a cop. He wasn't shot in the back. That's not true at all. People think that Breonna Taylor was shot in bed. She wasn't shot in bed. Her boyfriend shot at the cops first. One of the cops was struck. People think that, right, like story after story after story. When this stuff starts to build up, right, Jacob Blake wasn't some innocent dude that was shot. He was a guy that had like a serial fucking offender that was maybe kidnapping, 2 of his ex-girlfriend's children, right? But when you get all these stories lining up, when you start to talk to people that disagree with you, at what point are they just going to be like, bro, I don't believe anything you fucking say. I don't think actually there are any problems with the cops and black people, because every motherfucking story you've told me has been half true at best or a blatant fucking lie at worst.
Right. So my issue is that when it comes to this Ukraine situation, we're not dealing with that level of misinfo. Like you have argued before that people should be able to trust institutions to a certain point of basic information. And so I don't think there's a problem with people having it distilled for them down to the point of Russia should not be taking these acts of aggression. They don't need to know about any of the treaties that Russia signed when it came to Ukraine giving up their nuclear weapons. They don't need to have, or I'm sorry, actually, I don't think actual formal signatures were given, but either way, they don't need to know about those nuanced details. They don't need to know about the history of Putin. They don't need to know about the history of the invasion of Georgia in 2008. They don't need to know the depth of the reasons for why Crimea was annexed in 2014 or the history of the referendum.
No one is talking about that level of detail. But what I asked earlier was literally just like a basic, simple explanation.
Well, right. So what I'm saying is that they're able to say Russia should not be invading Ukraine.
But that's not enough. You need, because why did the U.S. invade Iraq? Right? We would hope that our citizens would have a better understanding.
So you're drawing a comparison to a situation that I understand why you're drawing that comparison. But we live in a day and age where the understanding of Vladimir Putin in this situation is much more detailed. We know in the West what he does and the way his propaganda machine works. So I'm not understanding why when we have the better understanding, we know, no, they are right, and they just have the very basic distilled version, which is Russia should not be invading Ukraine, why that needs to be criticized. Again, and I agree, people need to be informed. People ought to be seeking more information before really getting out there and doing anything. But we're talking about something as simple as putting up a flag saying, I stand with Ukraine, who ought not to be invaded.
I don't want to do all the arguing here. I'm supposed to be moderating, okay? Go. You do finish it up. Or do your thing.
Oh.
I'm going to take that as a concession from Destiny.
No, hold on. It's not a concession. The thing is, I'm repeating myself. What I'm saying is that, like, today's bullshit justification for a good war is tomorrow's bullshit justification for a bad war. But it is if you don't know what it is. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, then why? Then
should I not be able to trust my news to tell me?
No,
hold on. No, I won't even go.
Lauren, is the New York Times a good newspaper?
Wait, stop. I won't even go as conspiratorial as Lauren's going to go. But I'll say, yeah, you can trust the news. That's fine. But most people don't read the news. I would say that less than 50% of Americans have read a full article on what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Less than 50% have even read one article on it, right? They can trust the news, but they don't trust the news. Do you know what they trust? They trust what they see in their Twitter feeds. They trust the memes that they see on Facebook, and they trust what they hear pundits say on either talk radio or on the Daily Show. That's what they trust. That's where they get their information
from. We're not
from.
having the debate about how people get their news. We're having a debate about whether or not the average person has heard the right thing to therefore put the fucking emoji in their bio. Is that not the distillation of what we're arguing?
Yeah, but chances are they haven't.
If they got
and the problem is you're starting to see people do some crazy shit because it seems like they literally think that, like, Russians are fucking evil demons. So you're getting these, like, really uncomfortable images of, you've got, like, one, I keep mixing up. I think it's in Ireland where, like, an Irish truck goes through, like, a Russian embassy, and it's like, man, I don't know how I feel about setting a precedent for attacking fucking embassies. That's a really big deal. And people are, like, championing this, right? Or you're getting, like, I don't remember if it was Zelensky that tweeted this out or some Ukrainian military forces or whatever, but this idea that, like, if you surrender, we're going to kill you anyway, or we're not taking prisoners of war anymore. Man, that's some really iffy shit. But you're getting people that are yes-sawing it. But you know what? Those people should be. Because in Lycan's world, all they've heard is that Russia is evil, Putin is evil, and there's no reasonable person that would support this. So yeah, fuck it. Why the fuck wouldn't we? They're basically Nazis at this point anyway, right? That's the issue.
No, so my issue is that, like, I'm saying that through the channels of acquiring information, if they've acquired the correct, I'm sorry. This is why I was going exactly for what bullet points do you need them to know. This is why I asked for that.
Hold on. I said it earlier. What did I say earlier?
I actually don't remember. Please.
What I said earlier was, could they just give me, like, a really brief and basic explanation of why Russia might be concerned with Ukraine? Well, hold on, because
so if the average person comes up to you, if you ask them that question and they say, well, they signed a treaty saying they wouldn't invade Ukraine if they gave up their nukes. If they left it at that and said, and Ukraine's a free nation.
Honest to God, if somebody mentioned the Budapest Memorandum, even if they didn't do it by name, I would be impressed. I'd say, you know what, dude, throw whatever flag you want your bro. If they could actually do that, maybe that was too high. But that's going to be way more than what the average person has any fucking idea about, right?
If they said because Ukraine is a sovereign nation and Russia shouldn't be invading them because they're lying about the threat.
Every nation that gets invaded is a sovereign nation. To say that it shouldn't be invaded because it's a sovereign nation is not an answer, right?
It's a sovereign nation, and Russia's lying about their fear of NATO.
You need more. NATO intervention intervention in Kosovo, that was an intervention from NATO into a sovereign nation. NATO intervention in Libya was a NATO intervention into a sovereign nation, right? You have to have more than just it's an intervention into a sovereign nation. That's not enough. That's not an argument against anything. Every intervention into another state.
What's the point of trusting the institutions? Like,
it's not about trusting. It's not. That's a different conversation. It's not about trusting the institutions. Nobody listens to the institutions. They listen to memes they post on fucking Twitter.
Hold this right here.
Hold it.
It's so fucking bad.
Hold it. I love you. Okay, Lauren, you're not getting that easy here, okay? You're going to take some big L's with your audience, or you're going to defend some...
I'm sure I will.
Do you think that Russia has a legitimate justification for invading Ukraine? Let's hear it.
In their minds, they do.
Not asking in their minds, from a worldly mind. Do you think that Ukraine has to say, well, I understand that Russia has big geopolitical interests, so we should cuck ourselves eternally to that fucked up country and have no fucking determination of our own and never be allowed to join NATO or anything because Russia... Do you think that's the case? I want to hear you say it.
This is an autistic proposal that you're only putting forward because you're mad that you have to defend me.
No, I'm just curious. Excuse me. I was just curious what your position is. I'm just asking. I'm curious.
The reality is, of course, no one in the Western world or in Ukraine is going to think Russia has legitimate reasons for invading Ukraine. at least on a moral level. They're going to think maybe if they're intelligent, have practical reasons. And of course, Russia are going to think they have both practical and moral reasons for invading. But you're obviously just asking me this because you're mad that you.
I'm not mad at all. I'm saying, let's say we're a third. Let's say we're a third party. Okay, we're just a random fuck country in fucking South America, Central Africa. We don't have a pony in the race. Okay,
Steven, wait.
Oh, the pivot. Oh my God. Wow, you're so scared of answering this question. Go ahead. Okay, no, let's go ahead.
You're the most mad that you have to defend me. Well, I haven't even done a fucking Yordle cosplay.
Okay, firstly, publicly, you haven't done a Yordle cosplay. All right, number one. Okay, number two. All right, I'm not mad. Okay, I'm just asking a question. I want you to take a strong stance from a third-party perspective. Okay, from a third-party perspective, do you think that Russia sincerely has like a moral right to own Ukraine for their own security reasons, for their own safety and security reasons? That Ukraine just gets no autonomy.
In their mind, they do. And obviously,
I'm not asking. Hold on. In their mind, that's not a third party.
Obviously, from a global perspective, no.
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to hear. All right.
Great. Awesome. Stay mad.
I'm not mad at all. You're pro-Ukraine. I better see that fucking flag in your profile today.
Well, I'll be waving that fucking flag.
That's good. You can wave it at the next trucker rally I go to. All right. We were just talking about how Lauren is actually objectively pro-Ukraine. Go ahead,
Listen, I like Ukrainians. I think they're great people. I think
they're super nationalists. You probably have a lot of the same heroes, I've heard. I'm sure you guys are super on the same page about a lot of things. But okay.
So overall, when it comes to trusting institutions, what I mean is we believe that there is an overabundance of information that we don't expect the average person to know. Correct? Step one. Both of you agree?
Well, I'm not. I'm just the moderator. Keep talking to her. Okay.
Lauren, you agree that most people, there is way too much information for most people to know, right?
Yeah.
And we therefore have the news organizations that we expect to both capture the events happening as they are, but to also analyze the past and then give some commentary on what's going on.
Yes, and unfortunately they're shit, but yes, continue.
Some can be, absolutely. So what I'm saying is we would therefore not expect the average person to have an in-depth, serious, nuanced understanding, except very often in many cases, because there's too much information and too much shit happening, of telling people when a situation is right or wrong to some degree.
Right, which is why I wouldn't expect the average person to take a strong stance publicly on most issues.
Well, but again, you don't need to know the history of that led up to 9/11 to know that 9/11 was fucking horrendous and for someone to take a stance.
You think that the invasion, there are a lot of things that you can look at and say, hey, that looks wrong on a public level, or that sounds wrong on a public level, that aren't necessarily wrong. Can we agree on that?
Yes, but I would like to know that what that has to do with the fact that you're like, in you the can world say that you've created.
Would you agree that shooting Jacob Blake 7 times in the back is horrific, is a horrific thing to do?
Yes, it would be horrific if I understand where you're going. In the black, Jesus Christ.
We're 3 wine bottles in, all right, or 3.
Damn.
Wine glass.
I understand what you're getting at, and the fact that he was tased 2, if not 3 times, that there were multiple verbal commands that were attempts to physically restrain him before the fact that it reaches the point where they legally were obligated by legal precedent to shoot him because of the type of warrant being delivered and the fact that there were kids in the car. I get what you were saying, absolutely. But what I'm saying, and when the news misrepresented it, yeah, I was upset and angry that there were hundreds of people, if not thousands, I don't know how many were there, marching in the streets of Kenosha trying to burn down the city under a bit of misinformation. Absolutely. But again, if in this case you agree that Ukraine is in the right, Russia is in the wrong, and that there is nothing wrong with the idea of supporting Ukraine, I say to you, what is needed more than the news distilling that information?
I feel like
history
we're looping
and everything.
Hard. Wait, haven't
we are looping because I think this needs to be resolved.
No, I want to go to a quick point here. I had a girl come up to me the other day at the street and say to me, "Can I get a picture of you? I'm a huge fan. Are you internet girl?" And she was a very sweet woman. I like, very sweet lady. I won't say anything against her, but like, there was a part of me that was like, I'm internet girl. She doesn't know anything about me. She doesn't know my name. She doesn't know any of my works. She doesn't really even know why she appreciates me. I'm just the girl she saw on the internet one time, and she wanted a picture of me. And I would much prefer someone who said, hey, Lauren, I really appreciated this documentary. You know, I've bought Farmlands, I bought Borderless. I love this film. You put so much effort into it. This, and that is why I love your film, is why I would really like to get a picture of you with you, rather than, hey, are you internet girl? And I genuinely feel I share that perspective with the Ukraine situation and with any situation. Yeah, generally, I prefer people who are well educated on a subject to comment on a subject and to be engaged with the subject than those who are not. And I don't think that's an unpopular or even controversial position whatsoever.
So what I say, I'm combining what you're saying with someone in chat that can go fuck himself. If you... yes, we are looping, because it's like, to what do you, because this person's saying literally nothing, and I think the implication from what you're saying is that they know literally nothing. So I'm saying, if the baseline understanding would be Russia is wrong for invading, what the fuck do you need to know in order to take the stance of supporting Ukraine?
Millions of people around the world will just mentally say America is wrong for invading every place they've ever entered. But there is obviously more to that. There are people that blew up Twin Towers because they believe America was wrong for invading.
Again, you would not disparage Americans for being upset on 9/11. You would not disparage the world for saying that was incredibly fucked up. We stand with America. Even with the nuance, even with the understanding of our history, America's not justified. We're not Hasan Piker. We're not going to say that. So at the end of the fucking day, I don't see why, when it comes to Ukraine, with us knowing the history of Russia, with us knowing the history of Ukraine, and with us knowing the way Putin operates, why we're getting really fucking pissed off when the majority of the world is standing on the right side of this issue. Especially when the basic understanding you need is that Russia has a history of fucked up shit and they are wrong for invading Ukraine. I do not understand what this isn't. Like, I am failing. I am actually feeling like I was in the wrong classes for my entire time in fucking school, because I am not smart enough to understand what is actually happening in this argument. Because to me, it's very fucking simple.
Okay, wait, can I just like walk through like a thing from start to, hold on, I'm so curious. Okay. Let's say that everything you just said is right. Okay, people are doing that, right?
Who are you talking to?
You.
Okay.
Let's say tomorrow, let's say that Russia wants to invade Azerbaijan or something, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're doing it because that country threatened to nuke Russia. They're just so fucking mad. They're like, we're gonna fucking nuke Russia. Don't you think it's possible that, given everything you've just said about Russia, that people will side with literally any country in the world against them, regardless of how legitimate or illegitimate Russia's security concerns might be with that country? And they're going to be using all the same arguments. What would you say at that point to stop the people from siding against Russia when they're saying, oh, well, you know, it's the same reason as we sided with them against Ukraine. You know, like, Russia's bad, you know, Putin's crazy, the country's got a fucked up history. All things you could arguably say about the United States. How do you guide them now and be like, okay, well, hold on. I know before I said that you can jump on this because you were on the right side of history, even though you didn't know much about it. But now, you know, you can't do that. How do you rein that in now that you've already said that people can do that?
My belief is that in the situation you were saying, the news would have said and confirmed, and like, you know, they would have done interviews with like the American State Department, with the intelligence community.
How do you reconcile all of this then with?
Hold on.
Wait, no. Okay, I understand. I already know your whole answer. I don't care anymore.
Well, say
how
it for fucking chat.
How do you? Okay, you're basically saying your argument is about to be that you believe that if it was the case that Russia had legitimate security concerns, our media, our State Department, our entire government would be selling that story to the Americans, and we would actually be on the right side of that. People wouldn't be siding against Russia blindly because our State Department and our media. Yes. Okay. Don't care about that, because then I'm going to go back and ask you again, what about Iraq? What about the Iraq war?
Do you think that the Iraq war means we should no longer trust our government or our media at all?
It's not about trusting our government or the media. It's that if people were a tad more informed about foreign policy, is it possible that if we had a country full of people that were a little bit more informed about foreign policy, were a little bit more educated on foreign issues, that they would have been a little bit less, or they would have been more hesitant to support the government just barreling into Iraq to depose Saddam Hussein, that maybe they would have been a little bit more cautious there?
Do you think that the vaccine trials against Black people and the things that we did with the different STDs, that should discourage people from trusting vaccines nowadays, and the institutions that verify their safety and allow them to go forth into the population?
No.
Then why would our fuck ups there would we say, well, therefore you shouldn't?
Because what I'm saying is that our the fuck ups of the government could theoretically be controlled by a slightly more cautious or informed population. And that we can advocate for people to take a little bit better of an understanding about a particular issue rather than to just take the word of whatever the media is saying.
Do you think I don't agree with that?
It doesn't seem like it, because earlier it seemed like you were saying like, oh no, like because we're on the right side of history, people should just blindly support even if they don't know what the fuck is going on.
So that's why, like, on many occasions as this has come up, I have said I am fully in support of that and I wish people would be more informed. But I'm saying on this issue, like on each issue, we would assume that people should have
you can't change it on each issue because people are using an underlying generator to figure out how they're going to agree or disagree with a particular issue. You can't have like an exception. This is like a programmer that like writes an individual statement for every single outcome of a particular thing when you have like one formula that generates everything that people are going to decide, right? You can't do that, right?
I'm going to cede one little bit of ground. I will say that just knowing that the media told you that the news said Russia is wrong for aggressing, and not listening to whatever point prefaces or follows that is wrong. And that people shouldn't be taking that baseline level of understanding and then going forward. But I'd still think that there are so many basic points that if I fucking, unfortunately it's 12:42, but if I messaged one random person in my fucking Rolodex and said, hey, what do you know about Russia? Why was it wrong? I'm going to get a decent response. But that's my belief. That's my understanding. So when we're overall looking at this, yeah, sure. You know what? If everyone here, if the consensus in the audience and with the fucking panelists and the judge and God himself is that most people, 40% of people, 30% of people, if only 30% of people understand some greater fact than Russia wrong, yeah, okay, fine. People need to do better and shouldn't be fucking posting this shit.
Okay, well, and if that was the case, would it be okay to tweet making fun of them, saying that them picking sides is kind of like them picking RPG factions? Isn't that kind of the whole point?
If you're so confident that that's the case, and you as a massive public figure have no qualms about the impact that might have on other people doing such a thing, yeah, sure, go for it.
Amazing. Shall we all go to bed now that we agree?
I don't agree, though. That's the thing, is I do believe that most people understand with some, a lot of people are old enough to remember the Cold War and don't actually need a super big issue to realize why Russia trying to recoup one of the Cold War states is a problem. Would you agree with that, Stephen?
Ask Lauren. That's your debate.
Lauren, would you agree with that? That there are a good majority of fucking...
ask most of Twitch.
Well, so here's the thing.
They might have some disagreements with you on the Cold
Twitch,
War.
yes, but I'm talking about in the public in general. A lot of these people, let's say that, I don't know what the statistics are. I know Facebook's an older crowd than Twitter. But like a lot of these people are going to have family members that understand and remember. Do you think that you shouldn't be able to trust your family? And do you think, yes, you should want more information?
Absolutely.
I might not have
Absolutely. If any of these fucking people
I walked into a trap. You're right. Chat, I wouldn't have supported the Iraq war if it wasn't for my mom. I take that back already. Absolutely. As soon as I said it. No, that was a throw. I shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
Yeah, no. But overall, like if people have some, I would argue that the fucking online people have seen an article. You know what I mean? Like I would be more inclined to think that people on Twitter have seen some sort of article. There's enough, and with Russia, it's kind of pretty straightforward. I would believe if I went through the Times and the Post that I would find some headlines that are accurate, not misrepresentations of the content inside.
I wish that I could make polls to test Americans, but I can't do that. But I will confidently say that if I were to ask 50% of Americans to name 2 countries that border Ukraine, less than half of them could do it.
Absolutely.
I would put money on that 1-to-1.
I brought this up earlier. Like, what does that have to do with understanding the what's presented to you about the issue?
Because if you don't even know that, you probably don't know much about anything about what's going on. If you can't even think of 2 countries that border in Ukraine, one of them is free. Okay, probably Russia.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Name
I only
3
know
countries that border Ukraine.
No, here's the thing: is that I can give you
right now. 3 countries.
I can't. Let me finish. So that's the point I'm making, is that I can't name that, and yet I can tell you the whole fucking history of the fall of the Soviet Union and everything Putin's done wrong.
Sure, but like, do you think that you're like the exception, or do you think that you're
without naming 3 countries that border Ukraine? How could you do that?
I actually could only name Russia until someone made the joke that if NATO gets attacked, it'll be the first time Germans march through Poland as the friendlies.
Okay, wait. So you can name Poland, but also Belarus to the north is pretty important, right?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You got.
But what I'm saying is that I couldn't. I like, honest to God, if you pointed the map and gave me a bunch of countries, I would have to. If I didn't know that Crimea was on the sea, I might have a harder time pointing out, where that is. But I still have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the fucking region and the history. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm like, because of my own experience and maybe my own bias, I'm not going to judge someone too hard if they have an opinion on something. They're like, fuck, I can't put it on a map, but I can tell you that the Armenian genocide wasn't a good thing. I can tell you that, I watched Hotel Rwanda, and that kind of fucking sucked.
Hotel Rwanda?
The Rwandan genocide.
Oh, okay. Obama. Sorry. What's Hotel Rwanda?
So it was a movie.
Okay, it's on the Rwandan genocide.
It was an Eagles song. It was before your time. You wouldn't understand. Right?
Wait. Anyway, the whole point is so that's what I'm getting with that. It's just like when people are like, "Oh, well, you can't point it out on a map." It's like, yeah, but I can probably, Again,
I'm using that as an example. I'm not saying that you have to know the fucking geography. I'm just saying that like these like very general basic things. It's hard to believe. It's kind of like when I argued with the Serfs about like he was saying that Google was transphobic because they made people write
the name tag.
Thing. And I was like, okay, well, who is it? It wasn't even Google. It was a security contractor. And it's like, listen, if you don't know any of those things, that's fine. I'm not even going to judge you for it. But if you have really strong feelings about it, you know anything about it? Well, now I kind of wonder. Like, it feels a little bit more performative, right?
Do you think
like, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues when it came to the Ukraine-Russian stuff. I think that like Russia invading Ukraine is like kind of shitty, but I didn't really say much about it because honest to God, I didn't know much about the history of it. Now I feel way stronger about it because I'm more informed about it. I think it's really fucked up that Russia's invading. But before that, you're not going to find me having a super strong opinion. I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't think they'll do it. I don't really think much about it at all, because why the fuck would I have a super strong opinion on something that I don't know that much about? And when people have really strong opinions on things they don't know much about, they're inheriting the strength of their opinion from something else because they don't have it on their own, right? What are you actually mad about? What the fuck do you care if you don't know anything about the actual history of the region, right?
Is Russia indiscriminately bombing civilian areas?
I've heard that they have, I think it was 2,000 plus casualties, and I don't remember the name of the city, but they're starting to get a little bit more brazen with their attacks. I've heard that. I haven't read enough to like independently verify that, but it seems to be true. It would make sense given everything that's happened so far. Why?
Since the early days of the invasion, it's escalating.
Since the very early days? Since the early days, yes. It seems like it's escalated, yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it hasn't been as bad, but they've still been fucking up since the early days of the invasion. That is something I know people could glean from the headlines. And it has nothing to do with the geopolitics between Russia, Ukraine, NATO, the West, any of that. So if someone said
the Russian military are specifically trying to target
no. Wait, hold on. That's not the point.
Civilian factions. No, like answer that.
Well, hold on, because let me get on my question
real quick. Also, the answer to that is possibly yes. Yeah, but okay, go ahead, Lycan.
Well, so what I was going to say, fuck, damn, Steven. So if that was the reason, if they didn't have any of the geopolitics reasons, but if that was their reason, would you be like, oh yeah, they put up that flag? Because those flags have been going up since the invasion. So if people were like, Russia's fucking doing bad shit in civilian areas, you don't need to do a lot of research to find out. You can find out through headlines they were bombing green zones that they shouldn't have been bombing.
So yeah, but also some of the headlines are iffy. Like, for instance, there were headlines that Russia was bombing. Hold on, there were headlines that Russia was like bombing like the fucking nuclear plant. I don't think that's true. Even when I read that, I just immediately thought, "There's no fucking way. This seems insane."
But if you talk to someone and they give you the answer, and they're like, "Oh, well, they give you one sentence. Oh, the Russians were doing this, and therefore I stand with Ukraine." You're not going to say, "Okay, yeah, but what article did you read that in? And give me a little more detail."
Absolutely, you should say that. I think most of us don't know. Maybe they are trying to bomb civilians.
Yes, when we're talking,
but for the most part, when I see a lot of people that are clearly saying like, "Oh, the ghost of Kiev is real," and all the people on Snake Island were killed, suddenly tell me they're bombing babies, I'm like, Well, I should probably ask some questions about that. I think 99% of the people commenting on action happening right now on the ground are probably incorrect and just sharing misinformation either from Russian or Ukrainian military press.
But you're talking deeper about people sharing information. I'm talking about the flag. Like, all you need to do is find out Russia's done more than one bad bombing.
We've all agreed that no matter what, you should probably be more educated on topics that you are commenting on in a strong manner, especially putting flags in your bios.
Degree in order to put the flag in the bio. If they know that Russians are doing bad bombings, is that enough? There you go. That's my line. That's our line for whether or not we can disagree.
The Ukrainian military came out the other day and said that they were going to kill Russian prisoners of war. And that's a war crime. What do you mean, whataboutism?
I'm saying...
Whoa, listen. I'm saying people could read that and say, what else do you need to know? All you need to know is the Ukrainian military are committing war crimes and saying they're going to kill Russian prisoners of war. What else do you need to know?
Or 14,000, ethnic Russians have died in eastern Ukraine due to the ongoing civil war since 2014. Or...
Exactly.
No, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Stephen, repeat your point, please.
I think it's like some 14,000 civilians have died in eastern Ukraine, and Russia says that these are mainly ethnic Russians that have been killed by the Ukrainian military.
I don't know enough to comment on that. But what I do know...
That's beautiful. Keep saying that.
No,
that's amazing.
Stop. No, I didn't say you were right. No. So I want to go back to my question, because you're not losing me on that. You're not losing me on it. I got to find it again, but you're not going to lose me on it. Give me a second. If they knew through the news that Russia was doing bad bombings in Ukraine, and they said, that's fucked up, innocent Ukrainians are dying, I stand with Ukraine, and they put the flag in their bio, do you have a problem with that?
If I sat here and heard that the Ukrainian military are murdering prisoners of war, and I put a Russian flag in
Answer the fucking question!
Would you have a problem with that?
First of all, don't mock my I am inebriated and trying to fucking make sure I have my goddamn thoughts together voice, miss. Thank you. Second of all, your nails are lovely. I like, is that glitter on them or?
It is.
Hold on, are those real or are those acrylics?
Shut up.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, don't be tricked.
You're not supposed to know.
Don't be tricked, okay? by these fake fucking people like it. Okay, I got your back. Don't worry.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Anyway, back to the question. No counter questions. I want an answer. I'm not even restricting you to a yes or no. You want to talk for 5 minutes? Give me a dissertation. Lay it on me, baby. But if a person says, I have put the flag in because I know Russia's doing these bombings, I have seen the articles and the pictures and the accounts from the people on the ground, therefore, fuck Russia, and they put that flag in their bio, do you have a problem with that?
If they've consumed a decent amount of information and are genuinely engaged in the topic, of course not. Of course not at all. No.
That is one of the most common stories right now. Do you think it's unreasonable that at least 80% of the fuckers who put their shit on there?
Completely unreasonable. I think it's like 50%.
I don't. I think if today on fucking 3/16/2022 at 12:54 Eastern Standard Time, if I put that out there and I was tapped into every fucking flag poster out there, if I did that, I believe that 80% of them are aware of that fucking incident, those incidents. Would you disagree with that? Would you actually disagree that 80% of those motherfuckers have not heard about this shit?
About what shit exactly?
About the indiscriminate bombing from Russia.
I'm sure in Russia, the majority of people there have also heard about the horrible war crimes committed by Ukrainians. What saying is you need to have more engagement with the subject other than reading a headline. Just because someone's heard of something doesn't mean they've read past the headline.
You ought to, yes, but you're not going to grill every one of those motherfuckers for whether or not they've read past the headline. You just ask them, hey, why do you support Ukraine?
Is generally, if you're going to like full in, be going activism level on a certain topic, you should probably have read more than headlines. And I don't.
There's two conversations happening here. How much you ought to, and what Lauren Southern expects people to know. There's two different conversations. You don't get to vet the other one.
You can do what you want, but I'm going to make fun of you if your politics is based off headlines. I'm gonna make fun of you.
Wait, again, and also wait, can I ask one question? Just because I'm curious, as long as it's the same on both sides, okay? What if somebody has Russian flags on their profile, and you said, why the fuck do you have that flag in your profile? And somebody's like, well, I saw a story that 14,000 mostly ethnic Russians had been killed by Ukrainian armed forces in eastern Ukraine, so I support Russia.
Well, so then you say, but then you talk about where that happened, and then you have a foothold to go, yeah.
Okay, well, sure, so I say it happened in eastern Ukraine, where a lot of those people are ethnically Russian.
When and why is what happens. It goes when, why.
Well, why? Because those people seemed like they wanted freedom from Western Ukraine because they didn't support the new president that got there after. It's not a whataboutism. What do you mean? The people don't want to be there. The last leader that was there got ejected via a coup. They want independence as well, like Crimea was liberated by Russia. They want to be liberated by Russia as well. No, because I
just heard you the other fucking day bring up all the other shit.
Whoa, hold on. This isn't my argument. I wouldn't say this, but I'm saying a person could reasonably say this if they've read the right headlines. No, but I'm saying this is the issue. This is the problem, is that if you read a couple headlines, you could stick any fucking flag in your profile you want. You could put a fucking Moonanite flag from Aqua Team Hunger Force, talk about how they should own the fucking world, right? It just, like, anybody can read, like, 2 headlines. But this is the problem with getting your news via Twitter or headlines.
But again, I'm not talking about explicitly to the degree to which we are holding humanity accountable. I'm talking about what Lauren goddamn Southern needs from a person. And Lauren goddamn Southern doesn't have the time or the patience or enough wine to go through the fucking world and go to every single person with a flag and validate beyond just what knowledge do you know. Where did you get it from?
But I can make fun of some of them for acting like an RPG.
I think it's
like a Twilight series.
Wait, hold on. So you think that enough of your people are not going to misinterpret a sexist or racist joke in a way that's going to go then allow them to in some way inadvertently or explicitly propagate harm against those different groups? You think they're all intelligent enough to do that, but you don't think 80% are intelligent enough to fucking have seen an article or maybe read a little more in the last 20 fucking days of this war and not make a decision?
I don't give a fuck. I'm going to make fun of them either way.
Well, I think we've reached our natural conclusion, Stephen.
Nice job, guys. Wow. You both performed splendidly over this fucking boring topic. Congratulations. You managed to draw this out into almost 3 hours of content for me to leech off of. How are you both feeling?
Pretty good. I don't know how Lauren feels.
I have so much wine in me and so much rose water on my face. I feel incredible. I am like ascending to like the 7th dimension of white woman right now. It's unreal.
Have you ever considered White Claw to assist you in your journey?
That would be like I'd beat the blue lady in the different realm if I had White Claw right now.
Gotcha.
I feel pretty good. I don't know how Lauren takes these conversations. I like these. I don't like hold hard feelings or anything like that after. And I think that it was a lot of fun to engage with. I just am a little frustrated.
I enjoy people that I can disagree with that don't get so offended that they'll never talk to me again. So I respect you, Lycan. Cheers to you.
Cheers, homie.
Excellent.
I almost dropped it. There's nothing in here. It's ice. What am I doing? Stephen, I appreciate you hosting it. This was her condition. This might not have been able to happen without you.
Wow. Well, I can't wait when we get the SerfsTV on here next.
Oh, can we do an IRL debate? Serfs, listen. He'll say no, but
yeah, he's never agreeing to this.
I will buy your flight to do an IRL debate, modded by Steven with the 2 of us. All right? I'll buy your flight. I'll donate $500 to an indigenous organization if you win, okay? By popular demand. Up to you.
Wait, hold on. I saw you put in a picture at Tim Pool's studio. Did you do his podcast?
Yeah, I did Timcast. It was great.
What do you think of Tim Pool's Twitter activity?
What tweets exactly?
Obama.
Dig him up, Lycan.
Overall opinion.
Get DGG to find the tweets. You're about to make Lauren's half her audience unsub right now.
Obama.
Genuinely.
What? You'd have to name a specific tweet.
Well, so you don't have an overall. I think Steven is an unnecessary asshole who works against his fucking own things that he claims to really fucking care about.
Ask you about.
To really care about
George Floyd being the League of Legends.
Oh, I hate his Twitter. It's fucking awful.
The Rift is an oppressive place.
Do you really think he'd agree with you in this debate?
No.
It's not about agreeing. I'm just here moderating. Lycan's a brave man, okay?
Actually,
yes. We're both invoking your name.
Steven. Okay, I already thought, Steven, What? You go out on Twitter and you make comments that objectively have a negative impact on your efficacy.
Here's the deal, Lycan. I don't give a fuck anymore, okay? Half these motherfuckers don't believe in any of the shit they talk about. Half these motherfuckers are racist as fuck, okay? Just in the other way or towards groups of people that accept, okay? Half these motherfuckers call me racial slurs, okay? So I don't care anymore about trying to appease the retarded fucking headless children that run around on Twitter trying to get offended over every fucking possible thing I could say, okay? I'll try to limit myself to some extent, but you know what? George Floyd jokes about fucking oppressing my OpGG on League, that's some funny fucking shit. And if you get offended by it, I don't care. You probably don't have any black friends anyway, so fuck those people, okay? So that's what I feel about that, okay? Yeah.
No worries. That's fine. But you would agree there are still comments you won't make because you agree with what I said about the size of your platform and social responsibility.
To some extent. I'm quickly, it's receding quicker than Hasan's hairline.
It might be, but at the moment, I'm still in the right.
At the moment, you still have me there, but every time I get called a new racial slur and banned from a new platform, I start to slowly change my mind on it, okay? But, we'll see. I just need a few more Me Tooers from fucking lefty feminists to come out or whatever for me to slowly change my opinion on the rest of that shit. So we'll see.
From a femoid perspective, it's not going away. Feminism has infected every realm of life. And guess what? Sexism still exists. It still exists in all of the worst forms you can imagine it. So the based perspective is to learn how to adapt and overcome. Listen, all minorities out there, all femoids out there, adapt, overcome, defeat it through your own personal power. You can't rely on any of these fucks, social formats, governments, media institutions. No. They won't be there for you. You got to do it yourself. Anything in life. All right. That's the way to go ahead.
So he's got that way of going ahead. He does his thing, but he doesn't do what Tim does. Tim is full of shit.
Ooh, bring out a tweet. They linked one in DGG.
I don't know where to start. So there's a tweet that
there's a tweet where he says
screenshot.
Yeah, there's a screenshot and it says no foreign biological laboratories operate in Ukraine. U.S. Embassy and Snopes say. And Tim Pool says, whenever Twitter does this, I assume the opposite is true. What do you think about that tweet, Lauren?
I didn't listen. What did you just say?
Are you listening? Okay, try again.
Okay, I'm listening this time.
Picture, okay? Says, no foreign biological laboratories operate in Ukraine. U.S. Embassy and Snopes say. Did you get that part?
Yep, I'm here.
Tim quotes it and says, whenever Twitter does this, I assume the opposite is true. Do you think that's a good Tim tweet?
I'd have to see the tweet. Like what? So wait, he's saying Wait. He's saying, so Twitter is saying that.
Here, I linked you the tweet. There, look at it, okay?
Tweet. Yeah,
also, stop saying, wait. That's my line, okay? I don't know why you guys all copied my shit, okay?
My stealing from you? Well, yes. You also stole being based in right-wing from me, so that's okay.
I was literally right-wing before you were fucking born, honey. You're like 8 years younger than me. I was writing fucking articles about how based George Bush and Reagan were when you were a fucking sperm swimming around your dad's ball sack. So don't even tell me about copying anything from you, motherfucker, all right?
Mm-hmm. All right.
There's the tweet.
Sure. Whenever Twitter does this, I assume the opposite. No foreign. Okay, wait, didn't they just prove that biological laboratories existed in Ukraine? Isn't that true?
Ask her about the tweet, and don't let her squirm around for what the fact of the matter is. Focus on the process.
True.
Now she's focusing on whether or not it's true or not true, but get her on the process.
This is literally correct.
So to what you're saying, I believe the news you're talking about is from a day ago. And Tim's tweets from 2 days ago.
Correctly?
Well,
Tim predicted it correctly.
No, he does this all the time. He does this with so many fucking things.
I feel like you could totally choose a tweet where Tim was wrong, but you chose one where he predicted it right, which feels like a terrible
okay, so I asked chat to help me find this. There's a clip where the motherfucker says that he tweets all kinds of shit, bullshit and not bullshit, just so no one can ever tell. But the reality is, the motherfucker's been tweeting stupid shit forever, and this was just some dumb cover-up joke.
Don't generalize. We're focusing on this tweet.
Pick a tweet to show me.
Lycan.
Pick a tweet where he's fucking wrong.
Hold on, wait a second, Lauren. Your hair got super fucked up. You need to go to the bathroom for a second, okay? Yeah, so go fix it real quick, okay?
No, it's okay. I've got a camera here.
No, go 1 minute, okay? We need 1 minute. Go!
No, Steven, I got it. Give me a second. I got it. Give me a second. I know there was a screenshot of it the other day on.
No, we don't. No, not another tweet. You can use this one.
What?
Okay, yeah, I see how it is. I see how it fucking is.
The problem with this tweet, Lycan, is that it has a bad thought process. Whether or not it's true or false, just like how whether or not supporting the Ukraine.
No, yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah. The fact that he would say, like, the idea that, like, just because Twitter fucking news said it. Yeah. But I feel like
he was right. So
no, because to that she pivots to that, and she got me off topic. I followed her pretty nails and her pretty eyes and her bullshit words to the wrong fucking conclusion. And I am.
Yeah, so tell the conclusion doesn't matter. Tell her it's about the thought process. Go.
Sorry. Thank you, Steven. Yes. You're right. Lauren Southern, listen to me, okay? It's the fact that he is presuming that because Twitter news said it, it is wrong. And then he's propagating that to his 1.2 million followers. And he consistently does this where he undermines reasonable, rational news processes in certain systems because his fucking anarchist bullshit audience likes it and likes to jerk off to him saying, yes, tell us how the government's bad. Civil war is coming soon.
True.
But he was right.
Doesn't matter if he's right, though.
Doesn't matter if he's right.
He's stupid. Okay, wait, then hold on, Lycan. Now you bring back the one and you say, okay, well, if he's right here, then shouldn't it be okay if people put Ukrainian flags in their profile, even if they don't know what the fuck is going on, because they just happen to be right, that Ukraine does have a moral right to its own sovereignty?
Thank you, Steven.
Yes, yeah. Now what?
Lauren, quote that. Respond.
Okay, no, you're right on that point, but
keep hammering it. Don't let her talk after this. Now cut her off. Then what's the problem putting Ukrainian flags in? Why would you make fun of those people?
Listen. Steven, I get you have to like catch up and go anti-Lauren for a bit, or your audience will be super butt mad for a while. But like,
my audience is just happy I'm not playing League, so you're wrong. Okay, go ahead.
Like, I don't think you should sit here and just accept anything Twitter news says or anything the Ukrainian military says as absolute fact or anything the Russian media says. And I think that anyone making a joke... Yeah, I think anyone making a joke about saying, oh, the Russian media said it was correct, so it must be wrong is kind of funny. And anyone saying Twitter said it was wrong, it was right, so it's probably wrong is kind of funny as well, because a lot of times they are wrong. A lot of times the Ukrainian media, the Russian media, and the Twitter
when you say a lot of times
is incorrect. A lot of times
doesn't mean anything. What does a lot of times mean? Like, if you're going to make a judgment off of that,
enough to be funny. Enough to be funny.
Funny is fine, but Tim Pool does more than be funny, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Tim Pool shows active distrust in the fucking media.
Show me one where he was absolutely wrong.
Okay, and that one he was wrong. He's talking about this concept that there are bioweapons labs that are operating out of Ukraine. This is Russian propaganda that has absolutely no foundation in reality, because when you push any Russian stooges on this, all they can allude to are like obscure statements that I think Newland said, or the fact that there used to be bio labs here with like old pathogens from like the fucking 90s that were disowned from the Soviet Union, and there isn't any evidence that there's like active bioweapons research going on in Ukraine. Oh, yeah.
The U.S. government has admitted that this is from The Independent. The U.S. government has admitted there are a number of such facilities in Ukraine funded by Washington that do research on deadly pathogens, albeit from a preventative perspective rather than to create a weapon.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I can't read past that because I don't have a subscription to The Independent.
Oh, you sounds like you should subscribe to one. Source. But that is correct. Right. So there are people that do research on diseases and stuff. Those labs do exist. But Tim's the biolabs that people are talking about. Now you can go read tweet. You can read.
Shut the fuck up, Steven. The tweet he was responding to isn't saying military biolabs. It's just saying no foreign biological laboratories, which is incorrect.
But
there are foreign biological laboratories, not military, but there are laboratories studying biological pathogens. So what he is saying is technically correct. But sure, I can agree that him saying that because Twitter said it, then it must be untrue is definitely a criticism you could make of him. But it is a retarded tweet to pick to criticize me or Tim from when he is correct in this instance.
It's not a retarded tweet because it
is.
The tweet there, what he's talking about are like bio labs that are used to create biological weapons. That are
Steven, read the tweet again. It doesn't say anything about bioweapons. It's
hold on. No, wait, hold on. Do you think that people are, hold on. Okay, hold on, Steven, stop. Wait, no, hold on. I need you to think with the last with the sober brain cells left in your head. Do you think that Tim is just making an innocuous comment on the state of biological research in Ukraine? Do you think he's just saying, I don't think there's any, or do you think this has to do with the particular narrative right now that people are trying to say that there are bioweapons being researched in Ukraine? What do you think is more likely?
Steven, can you please reread the tweet he's responding
It's
to?
not about just the... It's not...
No,
if you want to...
No. Reread the headline he's responding to. Just read it out loud for me for 1 second.
No foreign biological laboratories operate in Ukraine, U.S. Embassy and Snopes say, is the headline of the article.
Okay, so are there any foreign biological laboratories operating in Ukraine?
I don't know their definition of foreign biological. You know what? There probably aren't, actually. Like, does that mean foreign owned?
There are biolabs that are funded by the U.S. in Ukraine.
That's not not a foreign biological lab, though. People get funding for labs all over the world. China has labs or funding that comes from different institutions in the United States. Like, tons of people get funding all over the world about. That's not a foreign ran and owned biolab.
So wait, but before you were seething over it being a weapon lab, so you're incorrect there.
Wait, incorrect about what? That's like the current propaganda point of the Kremlin? The idea that there are secret biolabs that are targeting Russian DNA? Or that I hear Jackson and fucking Haas talk about this all the time.
Okay, for some reason, The Independent gave me access to this article.
Oh, cool. Nice.
The U.S. government has admitted there are a number of such facilities in Ukraine funded by Washington that do research on deadly pathogens. So there are foreign, as in Washington-funded biolabs doing research on deadly pathogens in Ukraine.
Does that make it a foreign biolab?
If it's funded by a foreign
funded
country,
in whole in 100% of their funding, and it's operated by Americans?
Okay, well, would you say that at least a majority funding you would be okay with calling it foreign?
I'm not sure. It would still depend on the structure of how the ownership goes. If there's a business that operated in the United States and 60% of the shares of it were held by like a foreign national, would I say that it's owned by like that foreign country? Probably not. It would depend on the structure of the business. I need a little bit more information.
So if a business was funded 60% by Russian assets, would you call it a Russian funded or Russian owned asset?
It would depend on the structure of the business.
So if a business was funded like 90%.
It would depend on the structure of the business. Like, let's say that there existed like a bakery in France, and like 90% of the investment came from Americans overseas, but like all the management there and all the employees and everybody were French people, and their supply chains were all French or whatever. Would I say like, oh, like that's an American operated bakery or whatever? That's a foreign owned bakery? I mean, I guess like technically it is, but
okay, well, like, let's read this article together then. Let's read this article.
Okay.
All right. The U.S. government has admitted there are a number of such facilities in Ukraine funded by Washington that do research on deadly pathogens, albeit from a preventative perspective rather than to create a weapon. Regardless, the U.S. officials have expressed concern that the pathogens could fall into Russian hands and has urged that any harmful pathogens be destroyed. The WHO has also made such recommendation. Russia has claimed without evidence the U.S. is developing biological chemical weapons in Ukraine and that it discovered efforts to clean up these programs when it launched its so-called special military operation, an invasion that has led to thousands of deaths and indiscriminate targeting of civilian targets. The U.S. has denounced the claims, which have been repeated by China, as classic disinformation from Moscow. Now, the issue has been seized on by some on the right, such as Fox News' Tucker Carlson, who has been accused of intentionally implying the biolabs have a more sinister side to them. He has denied doing so. And former Democratic Congressman Tulsi Gabbard, who has ran for the presidency in 2020, has been accused of treason by Mitt Romney after she posted a 2-minute video calling for a ceasefire in Ukraine to enable any harmful materials to be removed and accusing the Biden administration of a cover-up. All right, let me skip forward to see if we can find the claims and how much ownership there is. It really just says U.S. funded. She said Russia has documents showing Ukrainian health ministry has ordered destruction of samples, blah, 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 blah. The U.S. has denied claims that it has backed a bioweapons program or is developing bioweapons in Ukraine. It has also claimed Russia is making these assertions in order to give cover to itself. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it doesn't really say anything about full ownership, but I think it's fair to say there's definitely some ownership in these labs, as there has been an admission of Washington-funded biolabs. So you could say perhaps that it's an exaggerated claim, but to say it's totally false, I think is unfair.
Okay, backing up from the world of looking at pictures of Twitter, The claim right now that Russia is making is that Ukraine has biolabs that are creating biological weapons that are either owned in whole or at least highly funded by the Pentagon. That the United States...
We're not talking about that. We're talking about Tim Pool's claim.
No, hold on. No. Hold on. Tim
Pool's
Pool's claim, Tim is not just randomly walking onto Twitter and being like, I wonder what the state is of pathogen research in Ukraine. That's retarded. That would be the most random fucking tweet in the world. His conversation is part of the overall context of, is the United States, is the Pentagon funding...
The tweet said there are no foreign biological laboratories operating in Ukraine. He said, whenever Twitter says something, I assume the opposite of true is true, which I agree is a silly position to assume anything Twitter says is untrue, because of course they're going to say accurate things. I see them say accurate things all the time. But I think this is a retarded tweet for you to pick when it was just shown that Washington is funding biological laboratories in Ukraine. Now,
wait, but not in the way that everybody is claiming. Oh my God. Oh,
whether they are fully U.S. owned or not is another argument.
It's not the point.
Wait. They are clearly onto something.
No, they're not.
Oh my God.
The United States funds thousands of labs all over the fucking world for research. China funds thousands of labs all over the fucking world for research. If one country happens to invade another and somebody's like, oh my God, they've got a biolab that's being funded by fucking China, there's not a...
I think it was probably irresponsible to say there are no foreign biological laboratories, then rather to say a more nuanced approach, like, actually, we do fund some biological operations in Ukraine, but perhaps it is majority Ukrainian owned. We're just operating some facilities.
What is that?
There.
What is
We're just promoting some research there. You know,
hold on. What is the statement of the U.S. Embassy?
Okay, so what if Trump were to say there was zero interference of Russians in the U.S. election, and then you found out that they gave $50,000 to Trumpian propaganda? I think a lot of people would be really angry. Even though that is a very small amount in the splash of things, I think people would be very angry at the statement of there was no interference.
Well, okay, if you want to make a fair critical statement of what the U.S. Embassy said, then we need to look at what the U.S. Embassy said to see if they actually made a false claim. I don't know what the U.S. Embassy's claim is. It's not enough to know. I know that Tim Pool doesn't like to read past fucking headlines of articles, but the picture of a headline is not enough to gather the entire U.S. Embassy statement. My guess is the statement itself is probably like 3 paragraphs long. If you want, we can try to find the statement and read the statement.
Let's
find the statement. Find the embassy statement.
Okay, no foreign biological laboratories operate in Ukraine.
In April of 2020...
If it is nuanced, I will agree with you.
Okay, fine. Here, okay. In April... Okay. The U.S. Embassy would like to set the record straight regarding disinformation spreading in some circles in Ukraine that mirrors Russian disinformation regarding the strong U.S.-Ukrainian partnerships to reduce biological threats. Here in Ukraine, the U.S. Department of Defense's Biological Threat Reduction Program works with the Ukrainian government to consolidate and secure pathogens and toxins of security concern in Ukrainian government facilities while allowing for peaceful research and vaccine development. We also work with our Ukrainian partners to ensure Ukraine can detect and report outbreaks caused by dangerous pathogens before they pose security or stability threats. Our joint efforts help to ensure that dangerous pathogens do not fall into the wrong hands. We're proud to partner with the Ministry of Health, the State Service of Ukraine for Food Safety and Consumer Protection, National Academy of Agrarian Sciences, and the Ministry of Defense to make us all safer. Does it sound like anything in here is a lie?
No, but like...
So then your problem is with the headline.
Obviously, there are U.S.-funded biochem labs in Ukraine, and they're useful and they're helpful, but... Like, I just think that it's an unuseful help.
Yeah, but that's coming from the headline of an article. That's why we read past the headline. So then maybe Tim tweeting his disagreement with a fucking picture of a headline of an article that just took me 62 seconds to read is a tad irresponsible.
Sure, I agree with that.
Sorry,
but I just thought it was a silly. I just thought it was a silly pick when it's like actually there is some. It was a bad headline. It was actually a bad headline.
Yeah, but this goes back to like these little things showing a bigger scope of a problem with an individual. And that is just how many examples, big and small, there are of Tim engaging with media this way and being dishonest to his audience or being a fucking moron and then being allowed without restrictions like a fucking monitor.
How about you guys go debate Tim instead of me?
Because he doesn't, because he only responds when he thinks he has some like really flippant fucking asshole remark to make, or that he thinks he's really self-righteous in his moment. When he's doubling down on some of the stupidest, most debunkable shit. You want to talk about someone who should maybe read beyond the fucking headline. This Tim fucking Pool.
This is a bad headline either way. Like it can go either way.
No, we're talking bigger picture now. We moved on from this.
Bigger picture. Go talk to
We're talking bigger picture. He doesn't answer to any people that can actually push back on him.
I'm not Tim's handler. If you want to pretend, because
but attending his podcast is a tacit endorsement of this man.
Shut the fuck up. Destiny's been on his podcast too, you retard.
Fake news.
Go, like, what?
And he was fighting with him the entire time. And he was pushing back on his shit. Now, granted, you want to know what? Yeah, you're right. You did. And Destiny fucking squandered it in the hopes that you might get. Hold on, no.
Wait, are you serious?
You squandered it because you were so worried about making sure that you weren't on such bad terms like every other fucking person you'd make for one time, and they fucking disappear and they turn into the Destiny hiccup. Hold on,
stop saying wait. That's mine.
Talking. All right.
What did Tim and I talk about on his podcast? Did you watch it?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, then why the fuck are you commenting on how I
want to know how you.
Shut up.
That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. I thought you liked jokes and we're tough enough for jokes.
I am. I wish you were.
Out. Oh my god, you got her hard on that one. Like she's seething. I can see the fucking seethe and cope.
I love it. I love seething because I know that they were good jokes. They got me mad, and I just wish Lycan supported good jokes that got people mad.
I do. I just don't say them on stream.
Lycan, do you eat your toothpaste? Be honest.
God no.
Okay.
I'm actually terrified of swallowing up.
Okay.
Excuse me, I gotta spit like a good girl.
Wow, you guys are doing great. I'm glad I could moderate this civil debate between the two of you.
Forgive me, chat. My chat are all like, "Why is Lauren swearing so much?" This has become a very non-Christian chat. I apologize. Forgive me, chat.
Wow, Lauren gets flow-mouthed when drunk. That's what Egan 48 flow-mouthed is what he said.
I missed something?
Lauren's chat is upset that she's swearing a lot.
I should have stopped swearing so much.
Wait, really?
I'm seething.
After all that talk about being big and bad on Twitter.
I'm seething right now.
Now she doesn't want to swear. Unbelievable. The language police are here. Okay.
But I love that. I love that Lycan has got me mad over his jokes. I love that Lycan showed up and had the respect for comedy to make fun of Christianity despite me being a Christian, to make fun of women and my understanding of women despite me being a woman. I love that he has that respect for me to be willing to crack jokes at my gender and faith. I love that. And I love that I won this argument.
Wow. Wow. All right. Now, Pussycat bringing out the claws. All right. I'm sorry, I can't even be casually sexist. So, I do appreciate good humor and good jokes and whatnot. Banter, as you mockingly put it towards me, on Twitter. I'm all cool and good with that. I just believe that people should be responsible with their platforms. And hey, you know what? Every hooker has their price, and at the end of the day, it very well might be that once I have the type of platform, my moral price will be a little lower, and I'll be happy making certain comments without consideration.
I respect that comment because I just won. If you're gonna call the woman you debated a hooker at the end of the debate,
whoa, wait, see, this is you conflating Lycan things. I wasn't calling you a hooker. It's that old joke about like, would you have sex with me for 100?
Listen, it's that old joke about daddy issues. It's just that old joke about daddy issues.
No, see, you're doing your Lauren conflating bullshit where it's like, no, this is not relevant.
Like, and if I was at a job and I asked a woman if she would go and fetch something from another room, and she was like, no, and I was like, what if I give you $20? And she was like, okay, fine. And I'm like, I knew it. Every hooker has a price. How do you think she'd feel about that one, Lycan?
I wouldn't fucking say that, but if we're talking, if I'm making an allusion to an old fucking joke,
in a debate about sexism.
No, do we know the joke I'm talking about? Yes or no?
Do you know the daddy joke I was talking about when I was referring to Trudeau?
No, because You know what? Yes. You know what? See, I'm going to do it again. Fuck you all. It's going to be taken as an L, but it's not. It's a realization of problematic ideas. The reality that, yes, the joke does reference to a woman. There's no version of that joke where a woman's talking to a man at the bar and says, would you have sex for $1 million? And the guy says, yeah, I probably would. And they're like, cool, what about $1? And the person goes, no, fuck you. What do you think I am? A hooker? And he's like, yeah, we've already established that. Now we're just talking about price. Like, there's no version of that. So therefore, yes, it is a problematic joke. But yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
And you know what, Lycan? I support you in your problematic jokes. I think it's funny. I think it's cute. I cheers to you. And I hope you learn that you can be accepted in making your problematic jokes one day without being problematic to the internet and your platform.
Well, now I know when you bring me home for Thanksgiving, because I know you guys have it too, your parents won't mind when I drop the N-bomb or two, because I'll just be joking.
Yeah, got him. All right. Well,
no. We let it hang.
Okay. All right.
Fuck. Oh, I fucked it up. I'm so sorry, guys. You guys are both great tonight. Man, that's awkward. Have fun. Thank you so much for all of this. And wow, I can't wait till you guys figure out what the next topic is going to be. I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting as this. Lauren, can you hold up that bottle of wine? How much do you have left over there? I'm curious.
I don't want to talk about it.
I just want to see. I'm just curious.
Listen, we've somehow managed to find a friendship in political disagreements. We're not going to find a friendship in you pointing out my alcoholism, okay?
I'm just... Actually,
you can.
Yeah, okay. All right, it's been fun. You guys have fun. Peace out, okay? Okay. Wow, good job.